So, did anyone get anything special for Christmas? Do you want
You know, I got a
shout out?
really nice. Oh, yeah, Dory got a
Oh,
microphone.
right.
I got a nice
Carry the
microphone.
mic.
I
I'm using
got
it right now.
Awesome.
I got a really nice. It's this hot chocolate machine. It's basically
That's
milk.
amazing.
It's basically a milk frother thing, but you can put chocolate in it, and it makes hot chocolate. It's brilliant.
That's awesome. Wow.
Oh,
Do you guys use whipped cream and
Yeah, we've got whipped
marshmallows?
cream.
Whipped cream and marshmallows.
Yeah.
Yeah. Love it.
yeah. I mean, I got the standard gambit of stuff. I got some books I was looking at. Got a game which I'll talk about in a bit. Some clothes and and underwear. But unironically, one of the best and most useful things I got was a little bedside table for
Oh, that's nice.
my room. It's literally like nothing special, but it just is a major help and stuff. So hell yeah.
Yeah.
So, did you get anything?
Well, it's behind me, my Marvel statues, and
Right.
Nice.
I also got like 2 jerseys. I got a couple of nice outfits, and nice pair of shoes. That's about it. I didn't get any like electronics or games this year at all, because I feel like I already had everything I wanted, so I didn't bother. But yeah, I had an empty glass case behind me, so I just figured might as well fill it with Marvel stuff. So
Yes. Nice.
Yeah, Kim and I got a new table, but we haven't opened it yet, so we don't know how good it is, but it looks pretty good.
nice. Hey, so over the break, I'm assuming we all been playing games, right?
Correct.
I played a lot of games.
Oh yes.
I got a huge chunk of my backlog finished over the break, so it was very nice. I'm almost done with my backlog now. I'm all ready for the Dead Space remakes. So my goal is to have no backlog by the time that game comes out. So let's
The impossible task.
right. So before we get into that, this is the 6th episode and the very first episode of 2023. So Happy New Year. I'm your
Happy
host,
New Year.
Sebastian. As always, I'm joined by Dory, James, and Mitch. All right, so
Hi,
Dory,
I'm the one who talks over Seb while he's trying to do intros.
yes, like right there. So Dory, what have you been playing? And I know we've been playing a lot of Game Pass games, similar Game Pass games. So
Yeah, I fucking love Game Pass. It's one of the best things ever. I wish more games would do it. 2 out of the 4 games I played were on Game Pass. First game I want to bring up is Beacon Pines.
Which I also-
Seb and I both played this.
yes,
Yep. It is a kind of visual novelty choice-based game. It has this cute little function where you can use different stickers to make different choices, and you can go back in your decision tree and do different stickers to get different results. It's a very cute game, although there is definitely a seedy underbelly to it. But I mean, I don't think the story is particularly. I mean, it's not going to surprise you who the bad guys are and stuff. But I don't think that matters. I think where this game really shines is 1, the banger soundtrack. 2, the art is gorgeous. And 3, just the characters are so lovable. I want a sequel just because of these characters. But basically, it's a lot of anthropomorphic animals. They're trying to figure out a mystery in the town. And then just like everything spins out from there in terms of like who did it and why and who's at fault and who isn't. And friendships are tested and new friendships are made and stuff. And it's just really cute. And it's got like a lot of like deeper stuff too about childhood and getting older and just like lots of really neat stuff. It definitely has like a Stranger Things-esque feel to it, but with animals. And I'd just say it was really good. I loved it. I had a great time with it. If I had put it in my list, it would have been probably in like my top 5 or top 7, I think. It would have been probably would have been number 7. Would have been definitely my top 10. It was an excellent game. But yeah, Seb, what'd you think?
I would say it's probably the most underrated game of the entire year. It's really, really good. The story is like I said, like it's not like it's pretty predictable, I suppose, but it doesn't really matter because it tells such a great story. It's like Dory said, it's basically Stranger Things with cute animals. I absolutely love the art style. Like, I love all the
Yes.
character designs. It had a great atmosphere. It had an amazing soundtrack. The mechanic of like using words to have different story elements was really cool. Like having like using a specific word to fill in the blank changes the entire story, and you get like there's tons of endings, right? So
Yeah, there's so many endings, and honestly, like honestly, there's like 3 major endings that you can see, and like at least 2 out of 3 of them felt like they could have been the finale. One of them's the true ending, of course, but
yeah.
yeah, I think I saw everything in that game because I was just so addicted to it.
Mm-hmm.
I will say my only major criticism of the game, and the only reason it's not a 5 for me out of 5,
Mm-hmm.
is just because sometimes when you go back through the tree and stuff and you start fresh in a certain branch, because it's literally the decision tree is literally a tree, or artistically a tree, you forget like, okay, what's my relationship with this character, or like what's going on in this. Like it only takes like a minute or 2 to figure out like, okay, this is where I stand, because in some strands like you have like a fragmented relationship with a character, and another strand you're totally fine, or in this strand like the character's gone and this one they're not. So it's like sometimes it can take a minute for you to get readjusted to wherever you are.
Mm-hmm.
But that's my only major criticism, and honestly even that's a nitpick.
Yeah, like it's just, like we both say it's like Stranger Things because the characters are all like preteens or like, and there's a government mystery that they have to solve. That's always there's like an underbelly of everything. Like it's a cute little town, but like with like dark secrets. And like, so, and it has like a really, it's actually very dark. Like it has some like gross out moments. Like for example, there's one character that, like in one of the story elements, he falls into the toxic waste and like he gets deformed. Like,
it's really nasty.
Yeah. I got all the endings because I have all the achievements, and it didn't take that long. It only took me like maybe 3 to 5 hours or something.
Yeah, that's the other. So I don't know how this happened, but it took me about 6 hours. It took Seb about half that time. So again, I don't know what Seb is operating. He's just built different.
Yeah.
But yeah, it for normal human beings who are not. That's right. It's a skill issue for me. But no, for normal human beings who do not have skills like me. It will take you about 5 to 6 hours to beat it. It's a pretty, and it's on Game Pass. And it's not. Is it on Game Pass?
It's on Game Pass. I played it on my Xbox.
Right. It's on Game Pass. I couldn't remember if I bought it on Steam or not. But yeah, it's on Game Pass. So I mean, it's really accessible. Both Seb and I highly recommend it.
Yeah. Before you move on to your next game, I also want to shout out Pentiment because I beat Pentiment on Game Pass.
Yeah. So good.
Had I beaten it by the time we did the top 10 list, it would have been in my top 10 because that game was absolutely incredible. Because it's a very different game than anything you'd play because it's very, very narrative driven. Like you basically just walk around and talk to everybody, and that's the whole game. And you just get so engrossed in the mystery of who killed the Lord, or I forgot his title. They killed the big guy, and it goes in like directions I didn't expect. And the third act was, even though I thought it dragged in the first half of the third act, when I got to the big celebration and on Christmas and stuff, that was incredible. And
honestly,
go ahead.
Sorry, just one quick thing is like that. I'm thinking about it honestly. Like if I had to pick like my 2022 game moments of the year from video games, that would definitely be in contention. Like that Christmas scene in Pentiment is just fucking beautiful.
Yeah, and I played it like the 26th, so it was like right around Christmas time.
It's perfect.
So it was perfect. Yeah, it's a Christmas game.
I started it. I haven't gotten very far. I don't know if I'm going to keep playing it. Because, like you said, it's very
narrative based.
It's very narrative based. It is just going around talking to people.
Yeah.
You kind of have to be in the mindset for it.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's not like it's not one of those games.
You really it's one of those games where if the story does not grab you, then there's just nothing for you to lean on.
Yeah.
The gameplay is just there's no real gameplay there, which is fine. The gameplay is the walking, whatever.
It's one of those games where even if I don't keep playing it, I'm really glad it exists. Because it's such a different kind of experience, especially I think compared to the stuff that Obsidian usually does.
Yep.
I mean, it goes to show you how good Obsidian is, considering that's a passion project, and it was one of the best games of the year. So, but yeah,
it got a 10 out of 10 from IGN for fuck's sake.
Yeah, and No, I wouldn't say it was a 10 out of 10 game for me, but it was like a 9.
Yeah, I wouldn't
It was like a
either.
9 out of 10. And so
Yeah,
it was
yeah,
really
I would
good.
agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah. So what's the next game you played, or the other game you played rather?
Yeah, yeah. So I also played a game that's in a genre that I don't usually touch, a roguelite. I actually thought it was a different genre, so I don't know if I would have played it otherwise. But Vampire Survivors.
Hell yeah.
I played this on Game Pass. This game rules. I love this game a lot. I've beaten most of the stages.
Yeah, you beat it fairly quickly because I
yeah,
remember you said you started playing it, and then like a couple days later, you were like, "Okay, I'm done with it."
Yeah, I feel done with it. I did look up like how to beat it, like true beat it or whatever, and I'm like, I don't know, because like I beat one of the challenge stages, and I felt really good after that. But basically, anyway, this is like a reverse bullet hell game where you are the bullet hell, and the whole point of the game is to build up, get levels up via these like little blue crystals, or sometimes green and red. Link, eat your heart out. And then you just eventually level up and level up and level up until you're like, ridiculous amounts of levels, and you can fire an insane amount of bullets. I think the funniest thing about this game is that it would strain at a certain point. The game strains even high tech gaming computers, because like you'll even have like not big stutters, like not huge performance issues. But I just think it's so funny because it's not graphically impressive at all. It's intentionally that way. It's very retro inspired, but because there's so much going on the screen, it just doesn't matter. Because there's so many pixels on the screen, there's so many explosions, there's so much of this that even high tech gaming computers have, at least from what I've heard, at least a little bit of difficulty keeping up with it, which I just think is fucking hilarious. But the game's super fun. I mean, garlic is your best friend in that game. I never thought I would love garlic so much because I certainly do not love it in real life. But in this game, it is just incredible and is easily the best power up. Yeah, James, what did you think?
Yeah, I was having a lot of trouble with the game until I discovered garlic.
Yes.
Garlic, it almost feels like you're cheating when you use garlic.
It really does.
Because because the whole thing of the game is you don't have to press any buttons to attack. The only thing you have to do is walk around and avoid enemies, and kind of position your character and select upgrades. So the attacks are all automatic, and garlic, what it does is it creates an area around you where when enemies walk into it, they get damaged. So when you get the garlic and when you level up enough, you can essentially just stand in the same place. And like if you've got like other attacks that do knockback and stuff, most of my games at this point, once I get past the first few levels and level up a bit, I can just stand in one place and the enemies just die as they come as they walk into me. And it's so simple, but it's still just incredibly satisfying.
It's so satisfying, and it's even better because they're like bite-sized sessions. Like you can each session's 30 minutes, and you can even do eventually you unlock a hurry mode where you can play for 15 minutes. So I mean, this is just the perfect like grab and go game.
That's exactly why I started playing it before you did, and you have made so much more progress than I have because I've just been playing it in like one session at a time. Just whenever I've got half an hour to spare.
I got addicted to it. I think within the first 2 or 3 hours, I was like, oh, I get this. Like I see why this is good. Like I had a run on the second stage where I just became an unstoppable force of death, and I think I had a near spiritual experience of like, wow. This is what every boss in a video game feels like when they're fighting us. Like, I don't know how the hell they lose to us because this feels amazing. It's important to note, by the way, I said earlier, I meant to bring this up, that it's a genre I don't often touch. It's a roguelite. So you do have upgrades. Every time you die, you get a certain amount of experience, and you can get permanent upgrades. So it's not a very difficult roguelite in that sense. The upgrades you get are permanent, although you can refund everything and do it all over again, I believe.
It's weird because I feel like... I mean, I usually don't like roguelike. I mean, even Hades, I kind of bounced off of. Yeah, and I think the difference with Vampires... I'm sorry, Dory. Okay. I think the difference with Vampire Survivors is I think it's because you know ahead of time that you're only going to last 30 minutes maximum. Because once you hit 30 minutes, the Grim Reaper comes out and he one-shots you. Yeah. So I think with like having that knowledge... that you're gonna only get 30 minutes in makes it easier to kind of not bounce off it, because in roguelikes it's about how far you can get, and you try and get further every time, and eventually, like, repeating the same thing for me gets tiring.
Yeah,
And trying to get
that's
further.
fair.
But yeah, I don't know. With this one, it just hits different.
I totally get that. I mean, it's still sacrilegious to me, but I mean, like, I get it. But no, this game's super fun, and I think the reason why I backed off is because eventually I did a challenge mode called the Bone Zone, which is really incredibly hard.
What?
It took me, I think, 6-7 tries, and at that point, like, I'd figured out the game. Like, I knew how to play. I knew what I was looking for. I knew what to do. I had to look up a guide. Like, okay, what weapons am I supposed to take? What character? Because there are a ton of different characters you can pick from, a ton of different weapons. There's so much variety in it. And so I had to look up a guide to figure it out, but I eventually did. And then once I did, it's similar to, it's similar to, like, when I beat that one boss, I beat the first boss in, what's the video game called? The other roguelite that I played on the PS5. The one that when you're in space. I'm sorry, I'm forgetting his name. Returnal, thank you. When I beat Returnal's first boss, I was like, well, shit, I know that's not the end of the game, but I feel super satisfied, and I think I'm going to go off on a high note. You got to know when to hold them, when to fold them. So I feel like I had that with the Bone Zone. Like, I've already read the guide. I know that, like, there's other levels. I think there's only 2 I haven't unlocked. But I feel good. I feel like I get this game. If I ever want to go back to it, it's easy to jump in. I have basically all the upgrades at this point. I mean, like I said, I went full. I probably spent like 10, 15 hours on. Well, I don't know because Game Pass doesn't track, but I would estimate around 10 hours of gameplay to get where I am.
I think the achievements page has tracking, like, total run time and a bunch of
because I'm on
stuff.
PC, so I didn't know if it did that.
I think I beat the Bone Zone.
They should.
Okay.
I think I beat the Bone Zone first try.
Oh, damn. Okay. All right.
I think.
And then we got a new Doom Eternal achievement here.
I know, right? But I think, do you know what? I think that's what it is. I think it's that idea of, in this game, even though it is a roguelike or whatever, it's the idea, I think, that you can beat it. Because that's what it is. I think that's why I bounce off roguelikes, is like, whenever I die, it never feels like I've beaten something.
Yeah.
So, but like, with this, when you hit 30 minutes, it feels like you've beaten a level. And so there is that. And you want to come back and do it again. I think that's what it is. But yeah, I mean, there's not really much to it, to the game.
All right. Any other? Let's keep on the trend of Game Pass games. Any other Game Pass games?
Are you all out, Dory?
I have Evil West, but that wasn't a Game Pass game.
Sure, but I've got Game Pass games by the barrel load. Actually, I've only got 2. Actually, well, including Vampire Survivors, the 3 games that I'm going to talk about all have landed in my top 10. So my top 10 is looking quite different from how it was when we recorded the top 10 podcast. So, but no, the other one I'll go with is Metal Hellsinger. That's one of the other ones that I played. I played the demo for Metal Hellsinger when it came out, and I kind of I played it and I was like, yeah, okay, this is all right. And then I didn't go on to play the final game because the demo was kind of just the tutorial and then the first level. But I played it over Christmas, over the holidays on Game Pass, and my God, this game is brilliant. Like, I think Metal Hellsinger is better than Doom.
Wow.
Because it's the thing. It feels like on paper the idea of a game where you have to focus on shooting things in a fast-paced first-person shooter while also trying to hit notes on beat. On paper, to me, that sounds awful. It sounds like it's going to ruin my brain, and I'm not going to be able to keep up with it. But in practice, it works so well, because I mean, it's not like a rhythm game where you have to pay attention to which different notes coming up. It's just a simple, consistent beat, and you have to shoot and hit the notes on these beats as they come up, and the music is just incredible. Like, it's a whole original soundtrack, right? I think I'm right in saying that it's every song was made for the game.
As far as I know.
And like, it's a high quality metal album. And with appearances from all these different famous metal singers and stuff. And just the fact that, like, it's kind of a game from I think it's the developer's first game or one of the first games or something. And to come out with that is just brilliant. I'm a little divorced from it at this point, so
Yeah, I do want to note real quick. I just checked the time for how long I've been playing Vampire Survivors. I forgot that I left it in the background sometimes, and that I would sometimes just leave the window up. So my time, everybody, says 1 day, 6 hours, and 10 minutes. And I assure you, I did not play actively for 30 hours. So that is not accurate.
You see, right now with the PlayStation game time tracking, I'm having the opposite issue where for some reason it's just not tracking my time played. So it's weird. Saying for games, for some games that I know I've played, well over, like 5 to 8 hours in.
That's been happening to me all the time
for 1 hour.
Like I said, it has. It told me. It says I beat Crisis Core in 2 hours, which is not accurate.
It said that I beat like The Last of Us Part 1 in 6 hours when the in-game tracker. Like, thank God for in-game time tracking as well. Not enough games have it, but the in-game time tracker said I did it in 12 hours.
I wish Kingdom Hearts 2 did.
I did not do it in 6.
Like my God of War says I have the platinum in 20 hours, which it took me at least 25 hours just to beat the game. So there's no way I got the platinum.
Yeah. It
took me at least 45 hours to get the platinum.
It's really frustrating. I don't know why it does that. And I doubt there's a way to restore the time play. But anyways, back to
James,
Metal.
Do you have anything else about Hell? I know you said you're a little divorced from it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know. Like I'm kind of. I at the end there, I was kind of talking myself up a wall, so I've kind of run out of things to say. I don't know if did any of you guys play it?
I didn't play it.
I keep meaning to.
I was close to playing it, but no.
Yeah. I was thinking about maybe when it gets cheap on PlayStation.
I think it's definitely worth it because it's like that feeling that that Doom has of just making you feel like an unstoppable force. It's like that, but dialed up to 11 because of the music. Because it's like there's something so innately satisfying about lining up. It's that thing like in a movie trailer for I don't know John Wick or something, and they line up gunshots to the beat of the music, and you're just like, wow, that's so satisfying. It's like that, but a whole game. And like there's something so innately satisfying about that. So yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I'll play it eventually. I just haven't been in the mood, I guess.
Yeah, I think for me, it's definitely what you said. I think the premise turned me off. I did look at some previews for it from IGN, and I did look at a review for it, and I was like, doesn't seem for me.
I think I saw several people on Twitter saying like they got frustrated with the gameplay, and I guess that it turned me off a bit, and I just never got to it. Yeah. I know I gotta try it for myself.
There are different difficulty settings, but it definitely is, I think, a game that could be mentally taxing. To play just because you have to. It does require some concentration to stay on beat and everything.
Yeah, because when I'm playing Doom, I'm mentally exhausted. Like.
Yeah,
you gotta put a headband. You gotta put a headband on, and
that's right. You gotta put a headband. Go right? Instinct, Ultra Instinct.
Yeah. It's definitely the same thing.
Like Returnal is the same way too.
Yeah.
James, what else did you play on Game Pass?
I kind of want to give someone else a go.
Oh, okay.
I don't want to talk 2 games in a row.
I gotcha. Well, I'll Mitch, go ahead.
You talk.
No, I was gonna talk about High on Life because it was on Game Pass. I played.
Oh yeah, sure. We can talk about it.
High on Life.
Honestly, no, I've got a bunch of stuff to say. Sorry, you go.
No worries. I just want to get all the Game Pass stuff out of the way, and then we can go full on PlayStation. So High on Life, I really really enjoyed. It wasn't anything incredible. It was solid. I don't know, 7.5 out of 10, 8 maybe.
I hated it.
No, I really enjoyed it.
I despise this game.
Every clip of this game makes me hate it, Seb.
Well, Twitter
I'm lukewarm on it, so I'm.
It's very well from what I'm seeing. The critics don't like it, although the review there hasn't a lot of reviews on Metacritic. Has very small amount of reviews, but that's why it has like 55 on something like that on PC, and I think it's only a very few amount of reviews.
Yeah,
I would say it's more around a 75, 77 kind of game. Anyway, it seems like there's a big disconnect because on my Twitter timeline, like people really like it, and it's the most played game on Game Pass apparently, like of all time or something like that. And the humor is very juvenile. It is Rick and Morty-ish. Obviously, a lot of swearing.
Eurogamer, I'm sorry, Eurogamer reviewed it as avoid. Like, avoid it. I'm sorry.
Nah.
That's just so fucking funny.
No,
Right.
Avoid. I've never seen Eurogamer do that. By the way, I don't even like Eurogamer that much, so I'm not even putting much stock in that. But that's just super funny that they literally just said avoid. Anyway, continue, Seb. I'm sorry.
So, the humor it's not like I wasn't laughing out loud every single joke or anything like that. And I do appreciate that there's a setting that you can turn off like the jokes, so you can limit it. But I didn't. I didn't find it. I didn't find it
too close to the sun.
But
the thing is, I think that's a misconception about humor, is that like every joke needs to make you laugh out loud. I think jokes can have worth as just being entertaining and keeping you engaged.
Sure, but it's like this game's constant. Like I was.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, is like it's like Mitch. I mean, Mitch was saying this before I even started playing the game, which is like, okay, so I mean, I like Rick and Morty.
I do too. I love the first 2 seasons.
The thing is about Rick and Morty is like, it's a TV show. It's scripted and paced exactly how they want it to be. With this, it feels like, because it's a game, and the player is in control of like how long things take. It feels like they felt like they had to fill out all of those moments of silence. So it's like, even the first joke of the game is like, you're playing this game where you're playing as some guy who has to kill his ex-wife or something, and it's his divorce lawyer on the phone to him telling him to do stuff. And even like the first jokes of the game, it's like, okay, it's his divorce lawyer, this is the joke of the game, it's the gimmick, it's funny. But then he just keeps talking and keeps saying, "Hey, it's your divorce lawyer," and he keeps saying the same things over and over again and making the same joke, and it runs on for so long.
Yeah.
And
I think the Guardian has a really good balanced opinion about this. They say the line between entertaining and excruciating here is down to how you feel about listening to a game-length version of Rick and Morty's interdimensional cable ad libs, which I love those episodes, by the way. But a whole game of it, I think I'll pass.
Well, the gameplay itself is, I think it's a very above average first person shooter. It is very much so a video game where it has old school. You teleport to a specific world and you do a level and then you teleport back, and then you have like a main hub and then you teleport back. It is very much so a video game, and that's one of the things I love about it. Is that it doesn't try to be like The Last of Us Part 2 or God of War. It's not trying to be Game of the Year or anything. It's just a fun video game. So once you get over, if you can get over the humor, which I don't like, I didn't find it like excessive. Like maybe in the beginning it kind of pushes a little too hard, but like once you're like in the combat of everything, it's not as bad. I love how meta it is. I love like it does. It really is self-aware. Like I've seen jokes where they mention like Mario, and like there's one part if you jump on a building a specific way, the gun's like, "Are you speedrunning right now?" And I just love.
Yeah,
like
I saw
very self-aware.
I saw a video like that. Yeah, where
I
was gonna say, I saw a video where it's like, if you actually do speedrun or like essentially skip an entire area.
Yeah.
Of the game,
the
guns or someone will basically say, "Oh, look, congrats on speedrunning, but we kind of need you to go here, so go there." You know, I mean, obviously, I didn't say it.
Yeah,
I mean,
I appreciate that kind of thing.
Exactly like that. Yeah. That's how the humor. Yeah, I like, for all intents and purposes, I like, you can't necessarily say that they didn't put any care or love into this game, which isn't what you guys were saying, but it's like, they absolutely had a vision and they absolutely went for it. Like, there was passion behind it. I think I'm kind of lukewarm on it. Like, again, I do like Rick and Morty. I think the humor is sort of enhanced when it's upset or offset in that show by kind of the more dramatic, weightier moments. But I think from what I've seen of this game, because like I've basically seen like someone's full playthrough condensed down, which I never do for games that I haven't played before, but I did it for this one. And a lot of the jokes were, it's like, oh, that's kind of funny, and then they just kind of keep going for an additional 30 seconds. And
Yeah.
It's Family Guy syndrome. It's Family Guy syndrome where you beat a joke into the. And by the way, I don't want folks to think like
feel like
we're
it's a disservice,
we're
yeah.
shitting on Seb for liking this game because Seb can like whatever the hell he wants. I just think this kind of humor, I'm just so burnt out on it. I feel like it's just for me personally. But I mean,
Well,
if anybody enjoys this game,
And
that's
you know,
great.
it's like I was saying. I don't dislike the humor. It's just what Mitch was
Yeah,
saying of like
exactly.
They
It's just
did
the
beat
basic.
it till it's
We
dead.
all all of us have watched or have enjoyed Rick and Morty, so it's not like we hate Rick and Morty or whatever.
Well,
I will say also there was a YouTube short, and then I'll shut up and Seb can say something. But there was a YouTube short. I did laugh where I think it's towards the beginning of the game where the gun is trying to show you like how to play whatever, and the streamer was trying to adjust her video or something, and she paused the game and then unpaused it, and the
Right.
gun went, "What the fuck do you think you're doing? Pausing is not going to help me shoot, you dumbass!" Like, I thought that was super funny. That was funny. I laughed at that. So it's not like none of the
Yeah.
humor works for me. I think it's just the
I-
pacing.
Yeah.
I chuckled quite a bit in this game. There was
Yeah.
some really funny stuff in it. I mean, like I said, I wasn't like dying the entire game, but I
Yeah,
chuckled
yeah.
quite a bit. 'Cause I understood every reference and joke.
And like you said, you don't
there's,
want to be dying all the time.
but this
Humor isn't good if you're just like heaving all the time. Like there needs to be breaks.
yeah, but don't.
Hmm.
I think people have the wrong impression that this game is just nonstop jokes, and then the whole game is just that. Like it actually has legitimately pretty good gameplay. Like
Yeah.
I really,
Hmm.
all the weapons are very unique and very fun to use because they all do different things.
The thing is, I kind of want to disagree with that actually, because
I think it's above average shooter.
there are two levels to the game, right? There's the comedy, the writing, and there's the gameplay. And I think the problem is neither of them do what they need to do particularly well. The writing, we've discussed the comedy, and I don't want to beat a dead horse with that as they have. But the gameplay as well, it's like it's fine, but if you want first-person shooter gameplay, there are other games you can play that do it much better than this game does.
It reminds me of Stranger's Wrath.
but
It reminds me of Oddworld Stranger's Wrath a little bit. I don't know if you got those impressions when I saw like.
It's been
screenshots.
too long since I've played that game.
Well, I was mostly talking to Seb
Yeah.
because I know
Oh, right.
Seb has played Stranger's Wrath. At least I'm pretty sure he has.
Yeah.
Oddworld, the one where you have all
Yes.
the creatures and stuff on your guns. And,
I mean, this game's not Doom Eternal, but it's fun. Like it's not trying to be anything. It doesn't overstay its welcome. It's only like a 6 to 8 hour game. You just
that's good.
go to different levels and you shoot. Gameplay becomes predominantly part of the game. Like the comedy, what happens is you go on a mission and then you're doing the mission for like an hour, and there is comedy mixed in, but it's mostly gameplay at that point. If you only judge the game by the first like half an hour, you're gonna be like, this game is just gonna be this. But once you start getting into like the later levels and stuff like that, you have like I don't know, say like 5 or 6 guns, and they
Just for a frame of reference, I have the first gun and the knife. That's as far as I got.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like, if once you get later on, I'm not saying like you have to play like 10 hours later on. I'm talking like an hour or two after. Like the gameplay is like 90% of the game. It's not just like you sitting there watching people talk. There are parts like where one of the bounty hunters you meet who like takes over your house and sits on your couch and literally watches full-on movies from the 90s. Like literally you watch the TV and it's playing a movie from the 90s, the entirety of the movie. It's really funny.
what is it? What is the movie?
I forget. I don't know what the movie
There's a
is.
movie-
But it's like the movie came out in the 80s or 90s, and it's just
There's this
it's really
really
funny.
bad movie with Paul Walker in it. I have no idea what the movie is, but
Yeah,
it
really
seems
funny.
really bad.
That's like stuff like there's a lot of subtle things in that game that gets a legitimate chuckle out of me. Like there's one part where like this teddy bear is like he's like ripped in half, and like when you walk away, he's like, what the fuck you going? Where the fuck you? And then you go back. Oh, you're back again. And it's just like shit, like small little subtle.
So you can watch here. There are 4 high on life movies you can watch at points throughout the game. Tammy and the T-Rex, I think that's the one you're talking about, but I'm not sure.
Right.
Blood Harvest, that's 1987. Vampire Hookers, and Demon Wind, which
Yeah.
is from 1990.
Yep. And they're like B horror movies. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there was a specific type of movie they went for there.
Just one of I feel like Dory, I would just try it yourself. Like the only thing you can do. Like don't go by what other people say.
Yeah, I mean,
because a lot of
it's on
people,
Game Pass,
if you went by
too.
my timeline, you would think it was a great game. And if you go by this panel, the game's garbage. So it's one of those things you just gotta try for
Look,
yourself.
I don't think the game's garbage. I'm just a little bored of the Rick and Morty type of humor at this point.
Yeah.
I loved the first 2 seasons when they came out, and I think it's
Yeah,
you
Yeah,
know.
I will say it is not the worst game I have ever played.
it's
Excellent.
Better than Resident Evil 3, James?
It is. Yeah, do you know what? It probably is better.
Oh,
than Resident Evil 3.
Why does everything have to go back to that?
It's just the game. It's just a stupid. It's a fun, stupid game. I like having stupid, fun games in between everything else.
That's fine, and we're
That's all
going
it
to talk
needs
about
to be.
another stupid fun game later. And I think there's definitely a place
Cool.
for stupid fun games. It's okay.
that's all it is.
Not every game is The Last of Us Part 2. In fact, I don't want every game to be The Last of Us Part 2 because I'm still emotionally destroyed. Anyway, I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah,
Right.
So just try it for yourself. But like I said, I really had fun with it because, like I said, it's not like some 30-hour drag and mindless humor. Like it actually got a lot of chuckles out of me, and the gameplay is really fun. It's not incredible, but it's not awful either. It's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah. So Mitch, what have you been playing?
Do you want to stay on? If you
Um,
want to stay on Game Pass,
We probably should start moving on now. I think. Or do you have
I
something
have.
else?
Well, I
mean,
do have
I-
one more.
Okay,
Sorry,
if it's a
you
Game
go.
Pass game, no, if it's a Game Pass game, well, because I have one Xbox game that I've been playing, but I'll let you do Game Pass first.
Okay. Did you get around to playing Immortality, Mitch?
No.
Ah.
I
yeah,
tried
yeah.
it.
I'm
I
sorry.
tried
Okay,
it.
so
I know you guys.
I
didn't
forgot
talk
about
about
that.
that. I did try Immortality, so I guess I should
beat
talk
it,
about
so
that for a second.
I beat it. So James and I may have a.
Yeah, we
deep
beat
I
it.
can talk about the first hour.
I don't want to brag, but I unlocked all the clips. So
That's a rare achievement, I'd imagine.
It is.
it's like 1%, less than 1%.
Yeah.
The problem is when you try and unlock all the clips, I kind of. So the game, I'll be upfront and say the game ended up being my second favorite game of the year. Not as good as Elden Ring, better than God of War Ragnarok.
Wow.
But
They got rave reviews, so.
Yeah.
I was kind of, the thing is that's based on the first like 5, 6, 7 hours. After that, like after I beat the game, when I went to try and get all the clips, that's when it started getting tiring because it's the conceit of the game is it's, for anyone who doesn't know, I'll just explain the synopsis real quick. It's this actress who made 3 movies, none of them released, and then she disappeared. And you have footage, archival footage from all 3 movies. You know, behind the scenes stuff, table reads, actual scenes from the movie that they shot, with cut and action being yelled and everything, unedited. And you have to piece them together and find other clips. So you unlock other clips by doing match cuts. So you can pause the clip at any point and select somebody's face or an item in the scene, and it will take you to a point in another clip that has that person's face or that type of item. You know, an apple, a glass, whatever. And that's how you unlock all these clips. So when you get to the end of the game and you've only got like 1 or 2 clips left to unlock, you start doing match cuts, over and over again with this person's face, trying to unlock them. And it just keeps taking you to clips that you already have unlocked. And so it gets so frustrating to try and find these last few. And that's when it kind of gets tiring. Because I think it took me a couple hours to get like the last 2 or 3 clips. But the game does so many things. Okay, so what I value, I think, in games, and the reason Elden Ring was my game of the year is because I value above all games that give me a new experience. Like, God of War Ragnarok was great, but it was a very sequel-y sequel. It was very much the same thing as God of War 2018. So I like games that give me a new, fresh experience, and that's exactly what Immortality is. It's surprising. Like, you're doing this activity of match cutting all these clips together, and then all of a sudden this kind of secret starts to reveal itself. And it does it and there's music, and the music gets creepy, and it does it in this way where it's like you start to realize that this is actually kind of a horror game, and it's really creepy. And it's like, as Seb, you were saying, it's like, what makes it so creepy, I think you were saying, is the idea that, like, these are framed as real people. They're obviously actors and everything, but, like, it's framed as in, like, this is lost footage of real people, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's like Blair Witch, where that movie can be scary because it feels like it's real, like because it's actually filmed in like a woods, and you know what I mean. And it has like a real, like it's actually happened. Like this lady actually existed.
Or it can feel like
she
really
died.
fucking annoying with all the actors shouting at the camera.
Yeah, it feels like a legitimate movie.
I played Immortality for about an hour. I really wanted to like it. I just couldn't get into the gameplay loop. Maybe I wasn't doing it right, or maybe I didn't understand what I was. I've never played one of these games before. I have her telling lies and her story and stuff like that on Game Pass, or at least telling lies. Or her story. So I've wanted to play these kind of games for a while.
Can I jump in? Sorry, Dory,
Yeah,
just because before you say something, do we want to spoil? Because it is incredibly difficult to talk about what makes this game interesting without talking about the twist that was not revealed in any of the marketing or anything like that. Like the thing that's interesting about the game is
I already told Dory. We'll just
I already know. I don't.
But for the viewer, for the listener.
Yeah, spoiler
Yeah,
warning.
we just put a spoiler warning. Spoiler warning.
So we're at this point right here. Spoiler warning. If you care
go
about
and play Immortality and then come back, and you need to play Immortality.
So she gets taken over by a big giant demon angel thing, and then she's
basically.
I mean, like I don't know. That's basically what Seb said. But yeah, I tried to play for this for an hour, and again, it could have been me. I went from shot to shot to shot, and like I saw little tiny things maybe here and there, but I don't know if I was supposed to. Like the way I was playing it is I would just go from shot to shot. I wouldn't go to the overall picture. I only did that like once or twice. And again, so maybe that was the wrong way to play. I didn't quite understand what I was doing. So I just kind of bounced off after an hour. I got bored.
For me,
but
this is the kind of game that like you can tell if you're an abstract thinker or a concrete thinker, and there's nothing wrong with being either one. But I'm an abstract thinker. Obviously, I'm an English teacher, and I think like that. And I saw all the symbols and the metaphors and all that. There's a lot of subtle hints that you see. Like for example, like the masks. Like they're just in the background, and then you click on them, and it takes you like a subtle like hint at what's going on. And then obviously the actors are actors. They're playing something wearing a mask, and also the angel taking over her body or whatever also is wearing a mask. So I things like that I really love about this game. The subtleness.
I think my problem too is that I focused on people. Like I would always be like, okay, who's this person? What's their story? And I get so wrapped up in that I wouldn't look in the background for things. In fact, I didn't even think about doing the background until I think I accidentally clicked on like one of the movie wheels or something. I was like, oh, that's interesting. So you can do it by item as well. So yeah, I think this is I think similar to James about Pentiment. This is a game I couldn't get in, but I'm very glad it exists because games like it should exist.
Yeah, and like that's the thing is as well. It's like you're talking about being invested in the characters and that kind of thing. What's interesting is like the objective of the game is to find out what happened to this actress Marissa Marcel, but there are other characters at play here, and you can also find out what happened to them. And when you hit those moments, because you have to go through all the clips and find out, and to find these like special clips that show you what happened. And when you find one of those clips, like when you unlock a new clip and you watch it through, and then this thing happens that shows you what happened to this character, you're kind of like shocked. You're kind of taken aback because it's like, whoa, like we've just been watching people make a movie, and then something happens to this character, and you're like, holy shit, I need to take a step back here.
Yeah, and and the movie clips themselves, just if you just ignore like the context, just like the movie clips themselves are creepy because it's about like Lucifer and the soliloquies that they give. Like they go on these, which is like a long speech. Like the performances are fantastic, and they go on these long, awesome performances. And so even the movies within the game itself are great movies. Like the acting's just really, really good.
No, they are. Like especially I didn't care much for what's the first one called again?
I don't remember the name of it, but it's like that was the one about the angel and all that.
Yeah.
Lucifer.
I didn't care much for that one, but Minsky, the second movie, I was really interested. I got to the point where I was just focused on trying to find clips in that because I wanted to see more about that movie.
Mm-hmm.
But like these scenes, like, because I mean we're in spoiler territory now, so I can say that like the whole thing is you rewind the clips, and then all of a sudden this kind of reverse side of the clip appears with these other alternate characters. And that's when it gets creepy because the music changes, and then it's these characters are creepy. They're supposed to be creepy. They're supposed to freak you out, and like they get weird in those clips, really weird. Like there's one in that first movie, Ambrosio is what it's called, where they're doing a table read. I don't know if you got this clip,
Yes,
Seb, the one where they're doing the table read.
Yep.
And then you flip it backwards.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, everyone's naked, and it's literally like a porn scene. Like she's on the table, like straddling this guy, and it's like, and they're reading, like, they're saying the same things that they do in the normal version of the clip.
Yeah.
But it's in this weird context, and it just it creeps you out so much.
Yeah, like when you rewind a clip, it shifts into like the. That's the hint that she's possessed, or not possessed, but I guess her body is owned by the angel or parasite demon. It's never explained what they actually are, but I'm assuming we'll just say angel for context. And there's like one clip, for example, where the other angel, like he has like a snake, and he leaves the snake in front of the camera. And it's like you're just waiting for the snake to like strike the camera, and it builds that a suspense. Like even
is that the one? Like, there's a few with the snake. The one that creeped me out a lot was Two of Everything, the last movie. There's one where he's holding a snake, and he just looks straight at the camera.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. He looks like the camera, and the snake's like, and it's like you're waiting for the jump scare, and it never happens.
It's so creepy.
And that goes to show you. That goes to show you that suspense is better without being a jump scare. And I wish horror movies would take note of that and stop doing stupid jump scares when the suspense of it is more terrifying than the jump scare itself.
No video games recently that came out in December that were widely anticipated did that, right, Mitch?
Yeah.
So
that's
sorry,
protocol.
I'm muted. Dogs were going on, but yeah.
Yeah.
But
there's the thing. It's like there's that level of ambiguity to unraveling this mystery, and like because you obviously unlock the clips in any order, so at any one time it's difficult to know what's going on. You kind of have to piece the story together at your own pace, and there's like a level of ambiguity to it where you never really feel like you know exactly what's going on. You always feel like there's another clip you have to find to figure out what any of this really means.
Right. And I know I'm the gameplay is king guy, but I really love a good narrative too, and I really think this game delivered, because I love analyzing like small details, and I think this is where this game shines the most. It's just that you just get enthralled in just analyzing every little detail of a clip, and that's my favorite part of the game. So
I'm like and it's gonna seem like a tangent, but I'm a big pro wrestling fan. One of my favorite things they do in pro wrestling is drop little subtle hints or little things in the background that you really have to pay attention to see.
The best writing
or
does
like
that.
Yeah, it's just everybody does that, but it's just a thing, especially in pro wrestling, and it just makes you so interested and invested in the story. So I think that's always a great thing to see in any video game or anything.
I never like when stories are hit things too on the nose. I like subtlety.
What I would like to point out as well, if we're talking about specific scenes, there's one scene. I don't know if you got this one scene, Seb, where she's singing. Did you get that scene?
Sounds familiar. It's been a while, so just refresh my mind.
There's a scene where she sings, I think it's a song by Lou Reed called Candy Says, and she basically it's a clip from the movie Two of Everything, where Marissa is singing a song. It's from the end of the movie, and she's singing a song, and then you reverse it, and it flips to the what's her name,
The other
singing.
Yeah.
The other or the one.
Oh, the one. The one.
It flips to her not singing but miming the song Candy says.
Hey, I don't think
And
I
it's
got
just-
that one.
You really, I think you should go back and try and unlock it because it's the best scene in the whole game. It's absolutely mesmerizing because she goes through this kind of thing of she's miming the song, and the song is so powerful in its own, and the lyrics kind of have so much meaning towards the story.
Mm-hmm.
But then she gets towards the end and starts crying.
Yeah.
And that's because of the meaning of the song and everything. And like I think that is kind of a flip, like a switching point
Yeah.
for the character in the story. Like I think on the surface the scene itself doesn't seem to have much weight in the story,
Yeah.
but I think when you really kind of dig down and think about it,
Yeah.
it is like a one of the most important parts to the story.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's even beyond any relevance it has to the story. It's just
Yeah.
such like a powerful scene, and it's I mean Jacob Geller made a whole video
Yeah.
about that one
Even-
scene, saying
Yeah.
it was the best scene in a game that year, last year, and I agree with him. I think it was the best scene in any game that year.
Nice. To start wrapping it up, I love that the title itself just has the double meanings to it, like
Yeah.
because actors when they're on film and they get filmed, they're immortal forever, right? They're immortalized in a film forever, which is
Yeah.
also what these actors are. And also just the other being, or the one being like an immortal being playing her, right? And at the end, right, or I think this is one of the ending. I don't know if there's a different ending, but she burns. The other one possesses the other lady, and then she sits in a chair and stares at the camera, and then they pour gasoline on her, and then they light her up, and so she's immortal. She's still like immortalized forever. And there's a subtle story where she possesses two different people at the same time, I believe, and then she can't handle it, and her blood just dripples down her face. This is like late in the bar scene, because I think she's controlled two different.
There's a lot of lead up to that in the different scenes in the last movie.
Yeah, because it's one of the things that you have to piece together. It's like I'm pretty sure she's controlling like two different people, and she's not meant to do that. And she could, and like I said, blood just drips down her face, and she passes out. So,
and that's one of those things that's is
Yeah.
not explained outright. Like you've pieced that together yourself.
Yeah.
I didn't piece that together, but it makes sense hearing you say it now.
yeah, and then the guy, she kills the other guy, and then he possesses someone else, from my understanding.
Yeah, I think so. I think
Because he's the guy, the actor, he's playing the detective.
Carl Greenwood. Yeah.
Yeah, and then he gets shot, right? Like one of the scenes, and they pretend it's an accident, but she intentionally killed the other one, but as playing the girl, but then pretended that the prop went off and killed the guy on accident.
It's funny hearing you explain, because I bet right now to Dory and Mitch, you sound like some guy with a pinboard behind you.
You sound like Pepe Sylvia.
conspiracy theories.
You sound like fucking Charlie Day right now.
But I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And it's,
well, this is just me and you, obviously, because we're getting deep dive into it. But you get what I'm saying, right?
I do.
And then he dies and possesses the lady. The other actress.
Yeah, like there's a lot of that kind of thing.
And she
that scene was
she does an evil smirk, like one of the scenes in the
she does.
art, and then she has a snake earring, and that's the shit I love.
Because that's a theme, like
Yeah.
and that's one of the motifs. But
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
one of the creepy things they do as well, is where whenever it switches to the one,
Yeah.
like a lot of those scenes, she will look directly at the camera and speak to you as the viewer.
Right.
Like
Yes.
they're aware of your presence.
Yes, but even like when the other guy possesses the lady, if you look in the background, she's smirking, she's aware. And then what happens is eventually she possesses all your screens, and which it kind of implies that she
The
possesses
ending.
you. Like you as the
Yes.
person playing the game, you get possessed by her, which is really great. That's so creepy, and that's where horror shines, when it's subtle like that and makes you uncomfortable, and the suspense. Like this is why this game was really good. Obviously, it's not in my top 10 personally, but like it definitely is one of the best games of the year. I definitely one of the most underappreciated games of the year, because I feel like most people are not going to like this because it just has that like specific gameplay where you have to watch clips and stuff. But
it's one of the most accessible games from last year right now because it's on Game Pass and Netflix. So
true.
Yeah, if you've got Netflix, and everyone has Netflix,
it's just that people
everybody.
It's a video game. It is, but I can imagine most people are gonna be like, oh, I want gameplay. It's not for everybody. It's like Pentiment. Either you play, if you like this game, you're probably gonna love this game. And if it didn't click with you in the first like 15 minutes, like Pentiment, you're probably not gonna like it. So
I think you should give it more than 15 minutes because
I gave it an hour.
You'll know. I mean, what I'm saying, like you'll know if this game clicks with you pretty quickly by the gameplay alone. So,
sure.
No, definitely.
All right.
Like the narrative needs to engage you.
Yeah, but I can imagine the gameplay is not gonna click with everybody. All right, Mitch.
All right.
I know
Mitch,
you've been waiting long enough.
Okay. So I played a bunch of stuff. To quickly stay with Xbox and vaguely Game Pass. I finally bought Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance.
Oh, nice.
About a few days ago.
Yeah.
I haven't played much of it, but
Think about the memes.
Yeah, it slaps. I remember, like years and years and years ago, I tried downloading the demo and I got stuck in like literally the very first VR mission where they are trying to teach you how to parry. And because I had such god gamer skills back then as well, I couldn't do it and just ended up quitting the demo.
I almost gave up on the wolf on the first boss, so don't feel too bad.
Honestly, I think now I don't know what game it is. Maybe God of War, maybe something else, whatever it is. I kind of just like understood the parrying a lot more this time. Like I still have my ass kicked. I'm currently in the sewer level, and those like freaking gorilla things are just kicking my ass. I think I got up to like the room where there's 3 of them, and I'm like nah.
It really feels like they want you to sneak around those guys, but it's like it feels impossible. I've tried every time.
I tried as well, and I'm just like I can't. There's literally no way to. Yeah. Because I think you have to like sort of hop over something or hop down. And there's like the amount of time between like sort of one enemy looking a certain way and the other, there's just no room for you to do that. So I'm just like, whatever. But other than that, look, the game's really fun. Obviously, the soundtrack is freaking incredible.
Did you know?
Really wish I had like a record player or something to play the record on. What were we gonna say?
Did you know it's one of my top 3 favorite games of all time?
I did not. I'm not sure if that makes a lot of sense or makes no sense at all. But there you go.
No, I adore it. Whatever you do, get to the end, because that final boss fight, not even for the gameplay, the final boss fight is a pain, but like
I already know
for the cutscenes.
Yeah,
I just love the memes.
I already I know everything about like the story and the game.
Trump
and
before
but,
Trump.
I'm just a through it myself.
Why don't you back it up with a source?
Anyways, there's a bunch of other stuff I've played. I got the Chaos game for PS5 now.
Let's go.
PlayStation. Stranger Paradise. Look, it now that I actually am reading the mountains and mountains of text that they have for the tutorials, I kind of like I understand why we struggled so much in the demo.
Yeah. Besides the fact that we all sucked.
The game's a lot, the game's certainly fun, absolutely, but I think there's just too many.
So much loot.
First of all, too much loot. Like there's no reason there needs to be this many loot drops unless you just somehow just need a dopamine hit every 30 seconds.
The gameplay is really fun, but it gets annoying. Like every single boss or enemy you fight, they drop an armor piece, and it's always better than the last one.
Exactly.
And you're constantly just adding armor. Like half the game is just the menu
I
Equip.
usually hate exactly. I hate doing this, but I'm just having to do like the like equip all best gear option at this stage,
Yeah.
just because it's the only like I'm not spending 5 minutes every like every I'm not spending like 5 minutes in the game and then another
I
5 minutes in
mean,
menus just to kind of keep
it's just
up.
a button masher
It
anyway, so it doesn't like.
exactly.
It's not a big deal if you do that.
Exactly. Like for the most part, like I haven't felt like a quantifier. Like in some games, there's like, oh, I can tell I'm obviously, building my character wrong or not well enough for this area. But in this though, like, yeah, it's a button masher. Like
Yeah.
as long as you are dodging attacks properly, you're fine.
Yeah,
really,
I think the best part of that game was the class system. I had a blast like switching it around with all different characters. Like I always loved that in
Yeah,
RPG.
yeah.
I really had fun with that.
100%.
I think it's a really fun game.
100%.
I just think the story is just fucking
The
stupid.
story is awful. I think they know it
Nonsensical.
to an extent as well, but I've like I mean they kind of front like they did the same. It's the same thing that they did with Outriders. Not last year, 2021, where like they front loaded a lot of the story. So like the first half hour or so was just cutscene after cutscene after cutscene, and then after that they just kind of let you go
Yeah.
off, do whatever.
It's a prequel to the
don't have
first
to really
Final.
care about it after that.
It's a prequel to the very first Final Fantasy game, and it literally leads right into the first Final Fantasy game. I won't go into detail. I don't want to spoil the story for you, but
Yeah, I know nothing about the lore, so like,
oh, you want me to say it, right?
like it means nothing. No, I not the ending because I at least have some interest. I kind of already know, but yeah, like it's I really don't care that much for the story, but as long as like it's the same thing with Outriders and the same thing with probably a few other games before that.
Yeah.
Just phase the story out and focus on the gameplay. It's a blast.
You just want to kill chaos. Essentially.
This is the perfect like $15 game or $10 game you get on sale.
Yeah,
I've actually heard
for like 10 hours.
Eyewitnesses have claimed that a loud new metal sound was coming from Mitch's house as he was playing this game throughout it. So
like corn.
Yeah, he did it all. He did it all for the nookie.
Corn. What else did I get? I got I don't think a lot of people have actually heard of this game, but the Chant. It's like a double A.
I've heard of it
game.
exclusively through you.
Yes,
I've
exactly.
heard of it not exclusively through it.
I've played I think like through 4 of the 5 chapters. I've kind of gotten to a point now where I think I'll have to restart the chapter I'm at because I've just burned through all of my resources stupidly, and like I defeated every single enemy I came across when that's very much not what you're supposed to do. But anyways, like I'm basically it doesn't seem to be a very long game, like probably around like the 5 to maybe 6 hour mark. But it's it's kind of inspired by that sort of 70s 80s sort of Enlightenment, sort of very culty horror type thing. It has some really nice sort of colors and visuals. The gameplay is surprisingly not bad at all for like again like what the double A studio. It feels like I don't want to say The Last of Us because that's just fucking stereotypical at this point, but it has a lot of the same, like the UI elements, they're very similar. Kind of the way you sort of collect items and how puzzles and area works, it's very similar to games like that, and a little bit of Resident Evil, of course. I'm having a lot of fun though. I think this characters are okay, but like their stories are interesting, and they have a lot of mental health theming and stuff going on, and they're not doing it they're doing it okay to good. They're not doing it terribly. That's the main thing. I need to go back and finish it. I'll probably just have to restart the chapter I'm at, but yeah, no, I'm having a good time with that. And I got something else. The other game I got for Christmas actually was Marvel's Midnight Suns.
Nice.
I've gotten really into that the past couple days because the first hour and a half is very, I don't want to say linear, but it's also very kind of like, okay, watch, like play a 15-minute mission and then about like go through like an hour of sort of character interactions.
It doesn't open up until like an hour into the game. Yeah,
exactly, and it's like kind of I played it for a bit after Christmas, and then I left it for about a week or two, and I left it just before the game opened up properly. And I'm like, now that I'm into the game proper, I'm having a lot more fun with it. I usually do not like sort of the like Firaxis games XCOM style turn-based combat at all, but because I think because this game, like there's nothing like like hit chance or anything, and there's no constant cover and stealth and stuff that you have to keep a track of. It's a lot more accessible and it's a lot easier to get into. Like the game still kicks my ass from time to time, but that's often just if I've been careless or like sort of haven't been, keeping track of which characters are where. And it's like there's a few moments where I'm like, oh, that's frustrating, but like I've never wanted to restart a mission or anything before. I'm like, I'll keep, writing it out, see where it takes me. All the kind of, like the NPC stuff back at the Abbey is okay. I like some characters more than others, and I like the idea of developing relationships with certain Marvel characters that I'm a big fan of and stuff. But I don't know, like I think it's a combination of like the graphics, which I'm sorry, kind of still look like a mobile game.
No, they look better. No, the graphics are the worst part of the game.
Like a good mobile game nonetheless, but like a mobile game.
Yeah. But it's surprisingly detailed, like all the dialogue. Like there's so much interaction.
Oh, 100%.
It feels like an Obsidian game. Like it's surprisingly
Absolutely.
well detailed.
It feels like kind of like a Western interpretation of Persona, but unlike Persona, everything is voiced, and there's a lot of talking as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's really strange.
Who's been go ahead, sorry.
Oh, sorry. What were you gonna ask?
Who's been like your main party? Like, have you jumped around, or have you stuck with certain people?
I've been jumping around. I've been jumping around a lot. Like I'm still early hours, so I'm just kind of trying to juggle a bunch of characters and kind of see where they go. But Robbie Reyes Ghost Rider, he's probably my favorite character to at least have like in the field play with. And that's purely because he's like, I think like he has like an ultimate ability or something where like you can essentially just like summon his
car,
his charger, like, and just go straight through the arena. Like it discards all the cards you have in your deck, but like as a turn ending move, it is devastating, and it is like it has saved my ass so many times. It's great. It's great. I'm looking forward to playing more of the game. But yeah, other than that though, so that's like pretty much all the new games I've been playing really. I've been going back and platinuming a lot of the games that I've been desperately wanting to. So I think I already mentioned how I did Callisto Protocol back before we had the break, but over the holidays I did Last of Us Part 1, I did The Last of Us Part 2, I did Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart because one of the trophies glitched for me, so I'm like, no, I'm just gonna not go after the platinum. So I finally did that. I did Horizon Forbidden West, which was not as bad of a platinum as I was expecting. Like it took me a lot less time. Though the hunting trials, whatever they're called, they can kiss my ass. I hate them so much.
They were annoying in the first game too.
Yeah, I like it, and it's what stops me from. I mean, on top of all the issues I already had with the first game, those were what stopped me almost entirely. Because I'm like, do I want to go for the platinum? And then I saw all the trophies related to the hunting grounds. Like, no,
I feel like the second one,
no, fuck that.
Hunting grounds were easier than the first. I vaguely remember the first game's hunting grounds being extremely annoying.
I think only about like 2 of the 4 hunting grounds were like annoying and required me to retry a bunch of times. A couple of them, like I think one of them was really just like a stealth arena thing, and it was like super easy. I blitzed through all of them in like 5 minutes.
Yeah. I think Horizon,
which was nice to break it up with, but yeah,
right.
Like some of those other ones were just frustrating. I
think Forbidden West's platinum was a lot more enjoyable, only because because you can fly around the map. Like it's more you can travel a lot better. Like it's not.
Yeah,
it's not as
the flying mount absolutely say because I could just like I hate fast traveling in open world games like this just because it feels like cheap to me. Like I want to at least semi immerse myself in the world, and I don't just want to be fast traveling every single direction.
Yeah.
Just because like I want to have fun with the game, like I want to sort of like see what the developers put their time into.
Yeah.
And like and that the thing was like in the first game, because of how like sort of rugged the terrain is and how I wouldn't say bad they are to control, but how sort of like uneasy at times the mounts can be.
Mm-hmm.
I just fast traveled everywhere because it was just faster walking.
Yeah.
But in this game, you have you have the like flying mounts, and it's just a breeze to get through. It's so much better. So yeah, like I got that platinum in a couple of days, and then I also did the Days Gone platinum, which I've been meaning to since I beat the game back last March, April.
So you got the platinum now?
I did get the platinum. It was like it wasn't too bad, honestly. Like I had to look up a guide for where a few like sort of hidden mission areas were.
Mm-hmm.
But and I had to look up a guide for all the collectibles just because I think at the time where I got back into the game, I had like 150 collectibles, and you needed like 181.
Yeah, I played
to get the trophy for him.
That platinum was I really enjoyed that platinum. I think I played that game for a week straight. Like I played that game was like Elden Ring. I couldn't put it down. Like I literally played that game like 10 hours a day for a week.
It said on PSN profiles that like the time from me to like from starting the game to getting the platinum was like 3 years, 8 months, and 20 days or something. Just because I had to. For me, the story was just so long and exhausting.
It dragged.
That
the third act was just tacked on. That's why.
The third act was could have been an entirely different.
It had a whole new map. It should have just been a DLC.
And I think the worst thing about the story was that like a lot of the main missions were just side missions.
Yes.
Like in terms of like structure and stuff. Or fetch quests, which is like the worst kind of bloat.
Just
stuff
I don't want to go too much into tangent, but yeah, like, you would get one of a lot of the missions would be like they want you to drive all the way across the map just to see someone's grave, and the mission ends. And like
it's like a 2-minute cutscene, not even.
Yeah, like you made me drive 25 minutes just to get to this 2-minute cutscene. And if they cut that out, this game would have been reviewed way better, and we probably have a sequel by now.
And I think if they hired more than one writer for every single character, would be better too, because like there's no quantifiable way for me to describe it, but all of the characters just have the same voice.
Yeah.
If that makes sense, like they all feel like they've been written by the same person, which I mean, I'm sure is true for a lot of games and a lot of movies, obviously, but in this game, it just becomes really grating because everyone just gets so on your nerves at times. And I'm pretty sure, like, I love Sam Witwer to death. He's, a terrific actor, really passionate guy. But his direction in this game is one of the worst things I've ever seen.
I love that he yells at himself. Like, he's just driving. Like, he just screams at himself.
It just ruined the character for me. Because, like, in cutscenes, he's a fairly mellow guy for all intents and purposes. But when he's out in the open world, he's just, like, screaming like a lunatic or something. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, I get the idea you're trying to convey is that, it's isolating and, like, he's kind of starting to unravel a little bit. But don't do it like that, please. Like, at least make him seem like a real person. But yeah, like it was a bit grindy and frustrating by the end, but I'm glad I have the platinum and I can finally put the game to rest.
Yeah.
Like it only says, like, despite having platinum, like only 70% completed, because there's a bunch of, and I hate it when PlayStation does this, but there's a bunch of New Game Plus trophies and a bunch of hard mode difficulties, a bunch of extra challenge shit. I don't want to sit through another 40 hours of this game on an even harder difficulty.
Yeah, no.
Just to get 1 or 2 trophies.
That was a game I really enjoyed, but I would not play it ever. I would never play that game again.
Yeah, exactly.
It was a one-time experience.
100%. But yeah, other than that, I kind of had like a really good platinum trophy streak running over the holidays, but now at the moment I'm just kind of working away at a few other games. I'm working through Uncharted, the Legacy of Thieves collection, because I think for the PS5 version you need to actually get all the trophies for both Uncharted 4 and Lost Legacy to get the platinum.
I wouldn't.
which
I'm not playing. I wouldn't
fun.
play that on the highest difficulty.
I
It's frustrating.
I only played surprisingly enough, I only played through Uncharted 4 once, and at launch. I think I played like I played a bunch of the multiplayer.
That was
and
actually
I played,
me.
A few story chapters after that, but yeah, I only played through the game.
I've only
once.
beaten it twice, and the first time I played it in 2016 when it came out, and I beat it, and then I
Yeah.
played it again for the first time last year, like when the collection
with
came
the
out.
with the upgrade.
So I've
yeah,
only
yeah,
played
yeah.
it 2 times, and I beat it 2 times.
Exactly.
So, yeah. I'm with you.
Yeah, so I'm going through that again, getting a few platinums, few trophies. I think I'm just going to work on it in the background, and I'm also working on Jedi Fallen Order now.
This is a
I'm
streak that
actually
Seb would be proud of. I think Seb is proud.
I
I have the platinum in Jedi
He's
Fallen
like a
Order
proud
listen
parent
twice.
right now in
I
the
am.
corner.
listen
Because I have every
I'm
platinum he's
hoping
mentioned, so I'm
my-
like a proud parent right now.
Of course
yeah,
you do.
exactly.
Of course you do.
Except for Uncharted, because I'm not playing that.
It's so bad that Mitch was literally asking Seb, "Hey, how do I use this trophies site?" I'm
Exactly.
like, "Oh man."
Okay, PSN profiles. I finally got it to work.
Such a great website.
But they do not explain how to sign up well at all. I mean, like once I figured it out, it's like, oh, that's freaking obvious, duh. But because everyone was like telling me the exact same instructions, like it's not that simple, and then I did it again, like, oh yeah, it is kind of that simple.
I
but
actually paid for
it's-
lifetime premium too.
Wow.
Because back then it was
I-
cheaper. It was like $20 for
Right.
a lifetime, and
Oh,
'cause
okay.
you can
it's
sync
saying
up.
it's
Go ahead.
it's saying it's like $12.99
For
for me
lifetime?
in Australia. Finally, after
For a lifetime.
yeah,
Or maybe I could be
Yeah.
misremembering. Maybe it was like $12.
maybe,
at the
but
time.
yeah.
But yeah, and
Yeah, but
'cause
anyway.
you can sync up your trophies like anytime you want. Because if you
Mm.
don't do that, you have to wait an hour. It's such a
Yeah, exactly.
I love it because you have a trophy cabinet. It tells you the date, every date you earned your specific trophies.
Mhm.
It shows all your milestones, your very first
Yeah,
platinum,
yeah.
your 50th, your 100th, your 150. It's
100%.
it's such a awesome website if you're in the
It's
PlayStation.
like the like some of the UI could be cleaned up a bit, but it's like
Sure.
it's a fan made website. You can look past it.
It's a giant leaderboard. That's really what it is. Because if you go on,
Literally,
you can
literally.
see like the number 1 person in the world, and he has like 200,000 platinums. So
Fucking hell.
I'm
I-
like 1,000
Oh, thank
something
you.
in the United States, or so
Jeez.
obviously the
Wait, what are
U.S.
you?
I'm like 1,000 something in the United States,
Okay.
which is
I'm
obviously the United
three-
States is the biggest player
Yeah,
base on that
yeah.
site. So
I think I'm only like what 3,000 in my country, but like then again, that's only with like 17 platinums.
yeah, I have 300.
and-
I have 355
barely trying.
platinums. I want to say.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't think like Australia's demographic is that into trophy hunting as other countries, but
I mean, maybe in the
look,
outback.
I'm excited. Exactly.
I don't.
But yeah, look, I'm
Go
excited to keep going and just seeing that like 100% completion bar is kind of just the dopamine hit I need. In any day of the week, really. So yeah.
You just do what I do. Go for the platinums that are like just fun to do, like legitimately. Like
Yeah.
if you feel like you have to
yeah.
grind for like 100 hours, I don't bother.
I it'd really only like I think the mentality I have, and I don't think I'll stray from, is that like just games that I enjoy playing,
Yeah.
and that are even better sort of like semi easy platinums I'll go for.
Yeah.
But like for instance, I've been going for like the Avengers platinum for like friggin' 2 years at this point, and I still haven't
Yeah.
gotten like there's like a trophy for like 50 cachet boxes opened and like 50 hive missions done. Like I still haven't done that yet. I'm like, I swear to God, I've done 50 of each, or like 50 of each, but the trophies haven't popped yet. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't played the game in literal months and months, but like
Yeah.
kind of like if I do go back, I'll be happy to get the platinum, and I feel like that's like one of the platinums.
I only have one more game
proud
that
of
I
because of
played.
How much fucking time? But yeah.
So-
Anyway, sorry, Dory. Before
Yeah.
we
So I
continue.
feel like should we talk about this game and then wrap up with and move on to anticipated
Well,
games?
let me just do my games first, and then because
Sure.
my last game is your
Oh,
last
shit, we
game.
still haven't done that.
So
Oh, okay. Sounds good. Sounds good.
I'll go very
right.
fast. I'm not gonna go in super detail. So I beat Midnight Suns like right before Christmas Eve. Obviously, it was in my top 10 games of the year, so I really loved it. I know obviously the graphics are not the best, and the story Story, I don't know. I don't know. It's not an amazing story, but it's fine. Like but the best part is the gameplay is just really really fun and addicting
Yeah.
and all that stuff. Then I also right after that, same day actually, I beat 3 games in the same day that day. I beat Return to Monkey Island. That game could easily be my top 10. Like it's in that like little window where like it could be in my top 10, but it just missed it maybe. But obviously I'm a huge narrative game fan, like with Dory. I think Dory should play this game. Because
I'm definitely considering it.
we both grew up with Monkey Island. I believe, right?
I actually didn't grow up with Monkey
No.
Island, so that's the one thing that's kind of holding
Gotcha.
me back. Is
It's-
I don't have a nostalgia for it.
Yeah, I mean, I know people weren't crazy about the art style because it changes it. Like it has more of like this, I don't know, colorful look. But anyway,
Yeah.
It's a really great game, a great narrative. It's on Game Pass, so if you want to try it, I beat it on PlayStation though. The reason why I don't have the platinum is that you have to collect every single ticket in the game, and it's random, and I'm not doing all that.
Oh, that's the worst.
So I'm at like
RNG.
75%. I'm missing 5 trophies from getting the platinum, and I'm just not doing that. One game I did get the platinum is TinyKin. TinyKin is one of the most underrated games of the year. Like it's really really good. It's on Game Pass as well. It's like Pikmin, and it's like 2D character and a 3D world. It's a platformer, and you have a bunch of like little minions that follow you around. They're like Pikmin, and you throw them at objects to carry them, and you solve puzzles, and basically you're like this little person in this giant house, or rather you're small in a regular sized house. So you're climbing on you're climbing on like sink, and climbing on doors and stairs, and so it's kind of like Honey I Shrunk the Kids with Pikmin.
Yeah.
It's really good. It looks great, and it has like this anime look too, and like it's a very cute game. Definitely recommend it. I got the platinum. It was a really fun platinum. Yeah, like definitely, it's on Game Pass. One of the most underappreciated games of the year. I have not seen a lot of people talk about it. Really good. Also, I platinumed The Gardens Between, which is like a puzzle game. Has a very sweet story to it. Has anyone ever heard that game before?
No.
I think
The
I've
Gardens
heard
Between.
of,
I
heard of it.
played it. I played it on Game Pass. I also thought it was a really sweet story
Very
about
sad.
moving and losing touch with people and stuff. That's
Yes.
the one, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Very sad.
Yeah, it was very cute, very good. I liked it.
Then I played Valkyrie Elysium, which is one of those Square Enix games where the story is stupid, or at least I didn't
Is
care
that-
about the story.
Did that come out?
Oh, that came out in like September, I want to say. It was like the
Oh.
fallish.
All right.
It had a Ragnarok story, so it had Odin as the bad guy and all that. So it felt like I was playing God of War Ragnarok again with the story. But the gameplay was really really fun. It was like Tales of Arise fun, or Scarlet Nexus.
Yeah, I played the demo for that. The gameplay's definitely fun.
Yeah, the gameplay's really fun. The story's not that great. I got it for like $20, which is I think is a great deal for that game. And it's only, I think I only beat it in like 8 hours, so I really recommend it. It might be on sale still, because PlayStation's having a huge like holiday sale right now.
Yeah.
So check that out for sure. Then I've been playing New Tales from the Borderlands. I'm only on the first. I'm on the second episode now. I stopped playing. I'm gonna go back to it. It's
I feel like that game didn't get any attention.
well, people don't like it, and I understand why. It doesn't have the great writing of the first game. It feels like
Isn't it written by the same people as well?
no, because
or-
the first one is Telltale. This one is
Ah, well, that makes sense.
this one's from Gearbox.
No,
So
but
it
I
had-
thought they still had. I thought they still retained the same writers, or I might be wrong there.
I could be I don't know, but the
I
writing.
think a
doesn't-
lot of the people from
I'll
Telltale
look
who
it up.
originally were there left. So
yeah,
Yeah, I think
it's
they
not-
heard something
definitely not
about
the
the
that.
writing doesn't feel the same because it feels more like Borderlands 3's humor, which is cringy.
That's not good.
Yeah.
Which is
Yeah, that's not
cringe.
good.
So this game is very cringy. The characters have like the It Takes Two kind of movement, which works in that game, but not this game, where everybody's just like, and I hate it.
Yeah,
But
it's one of those games where it's like it came out.
yeah,
I acknowledged it came out,
and it's a
and
problem.
I've forgotten about it since then.
And it's a problem because that's the main focus of the game is the story and the narrative.
Yeah.
so
Right.
so it's like Yeah, but I do like some.
Yeah.
There are cool. It does look pretty cool. Like I really like the look of it. Like the cell shading and everything. It looks really good. It's just the writing's just not good. But there's some cool characters. Like one of the robot. Like he's like assassin. He's a really awesome character. I really like him. Like I love his performance. But other than that, I'm gonna beat it. But it's not. There's a reason why people don't like this game, and I'm with it. It's probably one of the worst games. Well, I've seen it on worst game of the year list, and I probably agree with that, or at least disappointing. I put it on a disappointing list.
That's the most Gearbox thing,
Yeah,
like ever, to take a game that somebody made with one of their franchises that is critically and publicly renowned,
yeah,
and try and make a sequel to it, and it be the worst, one of the worst games of the year. That's
Yes.
very Gearbox.
yes. Like I said, because the writing just fell off a cliff. The first game had really fun writing, in my opinion, and it was really memorable. It was probably Telltale's best game, if not for like The Walking Dead or The Wolf Among Us. But this game just feels like Borderlands 3 DLC, and I did not like Borderlands 3. Like I like the gameplay, but the writing was just
Nobody likes
atrocious.
the writing is some
cringe.
of the worst writing in video game history.
So,
Yeah.
okay, so I'm just having a look at some of the credits for the writers of the game.
Yeah.
Anthony Birch is a writer, which, you know, obviously he wrote Borderlands 2 and Borderlands 3 and whatnot. One of the lead writers, Lynn Joyce, she only has one credit, and that is for New Tales from the Borderlands. And the other lead writer, Doug Leiblich, is known for Sonic Boom, the TV show, Pig, Goat, Banana Cricket,
Okay.
Johnny Test,
Oh.
Night
okay.
of Too Many Stars,
Mm-hmm.
and basically a bunch of stuff on IMDb that has no rating higher than a 7.
So
Like the highest rating
That-
is Sonic Boom and a 6.8.
that's
Nothing else
that's
goes
the thing.
beyond that.
That's what this thing with this game is. It feels like a game written for like a children's cartoon, but it's like but it has mature themes. Like people swear and get shot in the head and things like that. It's weird.
So
it's
it's
childish, but it's like it's trying to be adult and childish at the same time.
Yeah.
And that doesn't
It's like
work.
somebody took Borderlands 3 writing with the older Telltale style
Yeah.
and then put Sonic Boom in there for some reason and put it all together.
Yeah,
and
it's
it
like
just doesn't work.
It's like Johnny Test if like he swore and shot people in the head.
All they need is a whip crack sound. That's all they need.
Although Johnny Test is actually pretty good cartoon. But anyway,
I got that reference.
All right, and then I got 2 more games. Oh, I guess 3. I played Iris Fall. It's some weird. It is a really cool like cel shaded look. It's very Tim Burton-ish. It's a puzzle game. I got the platinum in that. I really like that. And then I've been playing Sonic Frontiers. I'm really liking. I'm going to platinum it because the trophy list is pretty easy. I'm really impressed. I usually don't like Sonic games, or it's been a while since I'm a big Sonic fan, but it's been a while, and I'm really impressed with the open world. It's actually a very addicting open world. I mean, it's mainly just like solving puzzles, like puzzles in that like you gotta do certain tasks to unlock the map and things like that. But some of the boss battles are really awesome. And it's like Shadow of the Colossus, like awesome, or Evangelion, like
Evangelion, yeah.
All the Titans look like Evangelion, and it's like legitimately awesome designs. It's really cool, and like there's like one part where you like turn into Supersonic, and the boss battle was awesome. And this game probably has one of the best soundtracks of the year of last year.
Wow,
like, it's incredible. The dubstep, the heavy metal, it has all these types of different genres. It has like epic soundtrack music. It does all these genres, and it does an incredible job. Like it might be the best soundtrack of the year, maybe.
Wow.
Obviously, Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is my favorite of the year, but Sonic Frontiers soundtrack is probably the best part of that game. I'm not even. I know a lot of people say this too, so I'm not like saying It's not some outlandish opinion. This game is very.
I've never heard it, but I believe you.
Yeah, people. I really. When this game gets on sale, which already was, I actually got this game for $15.
Oh wow, that's good.
Points
That's
and
pretty
stuff.
good.
Yeah, I know Sega games drop in price really fast.
Yeah.
Please, I really recommend you play this game. Obviously, I won't recommend it for like $40, $50, but when this game is like $15 to $30, definitely pick it up because I think this is probably the best Sonic game in quite a while, since maybe Generations, I want to say. Anyway, I'm really enjoying it. I'm going to get the platinum, and then finally, I am playing Evil. I beat Evil West, and Dory beat Evil West. That's the game she was going to mention, right?
Yep, yeah, it is. I actually just beat it today in preparation for the podcast.
And before we get into Evil West, is everybody else done with their list for games they beat? Okay, so this is
I think so we can move along. Yeah.
Yes. So Evil West.
Yeah. So Evil West. Okay. So Evil Dead. No. Evil West. Not to be confused with Evil Dead, or to be confused with like that other Western game that came out, Weird West.
Yeah.
Also not to be confused. Yes. Also not to be confused with any other Western game that came out last year. It is. So my big problem with this game, and I like this game, and I'll say positive things about it in a second. I think my big problem with this game is it got a nice shiny bit of paint from the Wild Flying Hog studio, and everything else upon closer inspection just doesn't really hold up. Like, this is me talking graphically. Gameplay, I really have mostly good things to say about. But, I know Seb didn't encounter this, so your mileage may vary. But I had some pop-in issues. I had some particle effect issues. I had some stuff that just looked really cheap when you look up really closely at things. And it's not, I don't usually care about this stuff, but I think it just aggravated me because the trailers really highlighted how nice this game looks and how beautiful it is. And it is. If you look at it from a distance, I think this is similar to Destroy All Humans in the remake, or the remaster in a certain way. But it feels like very kind of cheap when you look up close, but from a distance, like the landscape is beautiful, and the surroundings are beautiful, and the character models look good.
This game's environment looks incredible. It's like Naughty Dog good. Like some of the landscapes, like in the back, when you stare out like out in the distance, I would
label this like a double A game, but the landscapes are like triple A. But I feel like
the character models are not good though.
Yeah, no, they're not very good. But that's what I feel like happened. They did AAA gameplay and AAA graphics, and then everything else just fucking is not.
The performance is the problem.
They have it's like playing all the right notes on a piano, but in the wrong key. Like, I think that's the metaphor I'll use here, because the game has a lot of good emotional content in the story, but like an important character dies later. I won't say who, but this if it really matters, but dies later in the story, and they touch on it for like a second. Who's been there with you throughout most of it? It's barely touched on. He gets a line of dialogue later. We never see his body again. They don't hold the funeral. They don't do that whole funeral scene or whatever. It's just the characters, and I get it. It's the story's kind of an afterthought. They don't really matter. It's not super important. This is very much, and this is what we were talking about earlier with High on Life. This is a very have fun, don't think a lot game, except if you're having like a boss fight or something. I think my biggest point that I also want to get across, the gameplay rules. It's really good. I do think that the cooldown, because you don't have any bullets or anything like that, like it's all cooldown. I thought with the haptic triggers especially, it really felt aggravating, which it may be good or bad. I don't know if you really want to feel what it's like to be without a bullet when a rampaging vampire is coming at you. But I felt like the cooldown, I think Seb pointed this out too, which made me realize it. But the cooldowns are on the guns, especially the rifle, can be a bit severe. The problem isn't the cooldown itself. It's that when you try to dodge an enemy's attack, it resets the animation to reload. So you have to reload all over again. And I mean, it only takes a couple seconds, but of course in action games like this, every second counts. So it can be really frustrating because you're trying to hit a weak point or you're trying to stop a really powerful attack. And you're like, shit, I'm out of ammo. I got to change to whatever, from my rifle to crossbow or whatever. But yeah, I thought this was an above average game overall. I saw New Game Plus. I laughed. I said, no way. And I closed the game and then I removed it. I think it's a fine game. I think this is a game this is what I was talking about earlier when I said I wish some games were on Game Pass. This needs to be a Game Pass game because I would, no hesitation, get this on Game Pass. But even at $50, which I think it currently is on PlayStation Network, $48.99.
It's $48. I bought it for $48.
Yeah, it's about 48, $50. I still think that's a little overpriced, but you can get about, 10 to 12 hours from it. You can do New Game Plus. You can upgrade yourself fully. Like I said, the gameplay kicks ass, and from afar, the game's very pretty, but everything else feels like an afterthought.
I would say, subjectively, maybe $30 would be a good price for this game.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, like Dory said, the gameplay is really great. I think it's the best part of this game. It's a linear, go straight, climb on things, go in a giant area, fight enemies, and it's just
this could have been made 15 years ago, and I would not have blinked if this was a remaster.
I kind of appreciate it for
and
that
I do,
fact, because it knows it's like a 360 PS3 game, and it just has fun with it. And I like I said, it's like High on Life, where it's just like it's dumb fun, and I love that.
Exactly.
I do wish the story was better because it has so much potential as a story.
Yes.
It reminds me of Order 1886, where the concept itself is fantastic. Fighting werewolves or vampires or demons or whatever in a like Wild West setting is such a cool idea. Yeah. And I do wish they did a better story. I mean, there's a lot of cutscenes and there is a story and like it has a lot of scenes and stuff. So it's not just a mindless game, but it tries to tell a story, but it just doesn't. I don't think it does a good job of it.
It just doesn't care about its characters, and the delivery is so monotone and bad. Yeah. And it's just people could be delivering earth-shattering news, during this game, and you feel like they were ordering a pizza.
Yeah,
like that's the level of stakes these no disrespect to these voice actors. It could be the directing, it could be the script. There's only so much you can do with a script like this, anyway. But I really feel like we have the elements of a perfect Western game that has vampires and zombies and stuff like that. You take the hours of Evil West in the gameplay, mix it with the story of Weird West. I think you got like a winning combination there. I think you could really make the perfect genre out of that. But anyway.
The dialogue is just too edgy. It tries too hard to be funny. It has this cringe.
At one point, fucking with no hint of irony at all, the main character, when his partner was telling him some real life traumatic emotional stuff, he was like, "Oh, Edgar, you gonna kiss me now?" And I'm like, did we write in some fucking not so subtle homophobia in 2022? I get that it's in the West. I get it. I think
they're going for like the 2005
it's just
writing.
I was like, I couldn't believe that was in the game. I was like, I understand it's in the Wild West, and Jesse would definitely not be an ally, but I'm just saying, like, there's no need to write that line.
I got you. But gameplay wise,
so weird.
This game is actually challenging.
Really good, really fun.
It's challenging.
Yes.
Well, for me, I didn't find it like some people told me this game's really hard. I'm like, I don't think it's hard like that.
I only found one boss in the entire game hard, and Seth beat it in one try, so that should tell you, I don't know, differences in it's skill issue again, I guess. But
it took her 30 hours to beat the first boss in the
that's right.
But every boss I beat on the first try except for the one boss where like it makes clones of it, because I didn't understand the mechanics at first. You know what I'm talking about? There's one where it like shoots a laser. It kind of like shoots from a distance, and it creates like 3 different clones, and they have like a tornado that spins at you or something like that.
Yeah.
That boss.
I think that's the second to last boss, isn't it? Or no?
Third.
Okay, third to last. Okay.
The bosses in this game are very scarce. Like there's a huge chunk where there's no bosses at all, and then all of a sudden, and then there's like boss.
And the bosses also become mini bosses over the course of the game. There's definitely an issue with lack of enemy variety. I mostly noticed that because IGN pointed it out in their review. But I don't think it really matters overall.
No, that didn't matter to me.
It didn't bother me a ton. I think it is a fair point, though. But I think the bosses are really well done overall. There was one boss I didn't like that took me 3 or 4 tries. It had no checkpoints, and it was a huge health pool.
The parasite
and I didn't understand the gimmick at all. So at first,
with the leech one,
the leech one where you really had to shoot those weak points. I was treating it like I was trying to shoot it, but I just kept missing. Here's
the thing about this game. I think the difficulty depends on the spec that you focus on.
Yes,
this game is not meant to be a long range shooter. And if you spec that way, this game's going to be 1,000 times harder. This game is meant for you to go up in the enemy's face and punch them.
About halfway through, I learned that via Seb saying like basically, hey, like you need to spec on your gauntlets, not on your because I had been upgrading my rifle, I've been upgrading my guns. I'd be like, okay, I'm gonna play this like a gunslinger.
Mhm.
I liked the gauntlet, but I wasn't thrilled about some of the stuff. And then by the end of the game, I mean, I'm just chaining the gauntlet over and over and over again as much as possible.
Once you get to the point where like you get like invincibility for using your health, right? For 5 seconds.
5 seconds. 5 seconds. Yeah, I abused the fuck out of that.
Once you can convert your energy into health, you literally get unlimited. Like you can't die because once you get like all those abilities that like absorb energy for doing special attacks. You get constant energy, and you can keep constantly.
Oh shit! I didn't even think about that. That would have made it so much easier.
You're constantly invincible, and the shock powers are so fun. Like
they're so fun, and it feels so good to be in front of an enemy who's like fucking 5 times your size or width, just wailing on him with fists of steel.
Yes, I don't know if you guys seen the gameplay that I posted on Twitter, but. Like the fact that
I did.
Like you throw a grenade and it creates a tornado, and then you pull out like a ray gun.
It was so cool. It was so fucking. It was the dumb fun that Seb and I are both talking about. You create a fucking electric tornado from goddamn like bombs. It rules. It is awesome.
Yeah.
So there are parts of this game that are really cool. I overall I had fun with it, but I wouldn't. I wouldn't recommend it for any more than 30.
Yeah, if they just made a better story and characters, and this game could I don't know if this is gonna be a franchise, but if they've made a sequel, it has serious potential. They just got to make the narrative better. But the gameplay, it's kind of like a faster God of War, I would say. It plays a lot like the new God of War games, like the camera angles, the way he's in his back, and it's climb on thing. It's very linear, like the God of War Ragnarok. So it does play a lot like God of War, but just with guns. Like I said, but this sequel, it has a lot of potential for a sequel if they decide to do it. But I don't know, because I know people had a lot of problems like with the performance. I know people were falling through the floor and stuff. I think one time I played it, it was patched, so I didn't have problems like that. But I've heard all the stories about people's saves getting corrupted, people falling through the floor.
Oh wow,
things like that. So I know this game.
I did have a couple times where I clipped through things or I got stuck on things. I will say you can very easily get stun locked in this game, and it's so infuriating because you can't move past enemies, and so if they corner you, you're just dead.
You can't. Yeah, in this game you have to constantly move because
you have
to get stuck in a corner,
move.
You can't get around them.
Yeah, you're dead.
And you're dead. So. Yeah. So I think this is the kind of game where people are gonna like later on, like now, than they did when it first came out, because I think things are patched now and it's going to be cheaper. But like when it first came out as a $60 game with a lot of issues, I think that's where the negativity for this game came from. Yeah. But I think now people are going to appreciate it more as like when it's $30 and it's patched. So
I think
it's a good Game Pass game. As you said.
This should be on Game Pass. End of story. But it's good for what it is.
Exactly. All right, let's move on. Now it feels like longer, but it's only been about an hour and a half. We're gonna talk about our most anticipated games of 2023. Now we're gonna do this briefly. We're not gonna have a 25-minute conversation about every game because we're not doing another 4-hour show. But
no,
I had everybody message me about what games they're gonna do. I want to get like the overlaps out of the way. Like obviously the hitters we were all gonna mention. And I want to start.
Are you gonna read out the lists then, or?
I'm gonna just go in order. Like, what I'm gonna do is combine the ones we all said, the obvious ones, and then we'll start talking about the more obscure ones that we're personally more interested in. Maybe the others.
I think most of my list is obscure.
Yeah, so we'll do that later because
there had to be one
because the ones that are not in your top 5 are still like big hitters. So you know about them. All right, so the first one is Spider-Man 2. I mean, we're all gonna play.
My number 1.
2. Yeah, Spider-Man 2 has Venom, which is my favorite villain. Spider-Man villain. Venom. Even when I was a kid, I always drew Spider-Man. I always drew Venom. I just love Venom, and so cool. I'm so hyped for Spider-Man 2. I mean, Spider-Man 1 was so great. I had to play it twice, so it's really fun.
Spider-Man is my favorite superhero. These are some of my
Same.
favorite superhero games. I thought Miles Morales was. I know here on the pod we're a little divided on this, but I feel like Miles Morales was a slight marginal improvement on it in some very important ways. I feel like if you can switch between Peter and Miles, this game is going to be generational in terms of how good the gameplay is going to be. I already know they're going to nail the story because it's Insomniac. I don't really think we have to worry about that or the characters or the graphics. It really just comes down to the gameplay and how they're going to handle balancing Miles and Peter.
I don't give a shit about Spider-Man, but anything Insomniac makes, I'm there for day one. I actually disagree with you, Dory. I think it's the opposite. I think with Insomniac, the guarantee is the gameplay is going to be incredible.
Okay.
The story is the thing I think is up in the air.
I've never seen I mean, granted, I haven't delved deep into Insomniac's gameography. I don't know what you would call it. But
yeah, I'm not by any means saying that they have ever had bad writing or anything like that.
Yeah.
I've just always kind of seen them as a studio that makes games that are gameplay first. You know, they're not Naughty Dog.
Yeah, the stories are not Naughty Dog good, but they're still good. They don't make a lot of bad writing.
Yeah, I wasn't trying to imply that they're Naughty Dog good or anything.
Yeah. Oh, no. I feel like the first Spider-Man game from Insomniac was like probably, I mean, James and, I was going to say, Insomniac did Resistance, didn't they? So whatever, James may come back with something else about the Resistance games, but I feel like the first Spider-Man was probably Insomniac's best story or narrative, and sort of Miles Morales and Ratchet and Clank after that, they were still good, but I feel like they were missing. I don't know, like
Ratchet,
the special ingredient or whatever that made the first Spider-Man game sound great. Like they were still good, but like I had my issues with Miles Morales' story. I had my issues with Ratchet and Clank's story. But like to be fair, I feel like the issues I had were more so of them just not doing enough for a certain character or a certain theme or plot point, and less because like they were actually inherently flawed.
To put it in simple terms, the way I look at it is Miles Morales had better gameplay, worse story.
I'd agree.
I think that's accurate. Yeah.
I think I like about the stories about the same. I mean,
I still think it was great, but I agree.
I thought the main villain was obvious. Like I knew, like we all knew it was coming, and it kind of soured it. That kind of soured it.
The trailer, I mean, basically gave it away. Yeah. Like, come on.
But
we all knew it was
the story.
Wait, are we talking about the first game or Miles Morales?
No, Miles Morales.
Well, both. I'm talking about the first. No, I'm talking about Doc Ock. But it was so obvious. I'm like, come on.
Jeez. Well, that's I mean, that's foreshadowing. That's just foreshadowing.
No, but it was just they're trying to make like a big twist. I'm like, it's Dr. Octopus. Like, was that supposed to be like a surprise? But anyway, both stories. I thought both stories were good. I mean, they're good. I mean, but the main thing is the gameplay. The gameplay was just mind blowing. Like, probably the best. The swinging alone is just because I'm a giant Spider-Man fan. I was just blown away just by the swinging. And all the game has to do is have a basic story and have swinging and awesome gameplay, and I'm happy. That's all I need.
All right,
and this is gonna be even better because this is PS5 only. This is PS5 only, so they actually making it for the hardware. So I'm curious.
And apparently, the shortage of PS5s is over. So
it is 30. It sold 30 million. So that's where they're at. All right. Next one is Resident Evil 4 remake, because we all mentioned that. Or three of us mentioned that. Resident Evil 4 is the greatest game ever made, and they're remaking it. And their promises they're promising is they're not getting rid of anything. In fact, they're actually adding to the game. Like they're actually and that's really exciting.
I want to be clear that I'm a huge RE4 fan. I had very little excitement about this game at first. And then I saw that fucking trailer, and I said, sign me the fuck up, I'm buying it too.
I was worried because it's the Resident Evil 3 devs, and I'm like, please don't cut the game. But they're actually... It seems like they learned their lesson, and they're putting more effort in.
It's actually... So originally, it was the RE3 devs.
They changed it?
But... Yeah, well, they changed because apparently, like, after the reception RE3 got,
Yeah.
and specifically
Doesn't even
James, specifically of what James was saying.
Right. It's specifically what James said.
They have his they have like a picture of him on the wall, and they throw like
Like a dartboard.
That's fine. I have a picture of RE3 on my dartboard. So.
this on his trash can.
Yeah.
But they apparently after RE3, like the dev team was on RE4, and they were sticking too close to the original for Capcom's taste. So essentially, they're like, no, make some changes. But then they brought like the like Village and RE2 remake team on to kind of take over, which is why it's taken a bit longer and why it seems so high quality, which I'm excited for.
I'm a patient person.
Honestly,
I can wait.
I think. Like, they say they're not cutting content, and they say that they're adding stuff, but I'd still be surprised if the game's, like, campaign, like, on a regular playthrough goes for more than 8 to 10 hours. Because, like, the original RE4 was, like, what, 14 hours, 15? I
can beat
considering
it in, like, 6
how...
hours, yeah.
Well, yeah, but like, like, first time through, completely blind.
Probably,
I think, honestly, that game could have been shorter. I mean, I love Resident Evil 4, but I think
absolutely
they can cut things out for sure. Like, I hope they cut the water level out, and I hope that they gotta take the Salazar statue out, because that would just feel out of place in this tone.
Yeah, because what I was gonna say is that, like, I still feel like because a lot of the recent RE, or pretty much all of the recent RE games actually have been very speedrunner focused, with like
they always been
collectibles and stuff you can get after the game, but like even more so like with the like sort of all the trophies
with the timers
and stuff as well.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, exactly. So I'd be shocked if like a regular playthrough of the remake goes for more than 10 hours. I don't mind, honestly, like as we just said, I think RE4 could have been shorter.
I'm fine with 10 hours.
But yeah, like I feel like as long as they get the balance right, and they don't have
10 to 12 hours would be solid.
As long as they honestly, this is the biggest pet peeve. As long as they don't have that fucking like the puzzle you had to do with Ashley, where you had to like rearrange all the pieces.
I hate that. I hate that fucking
that
puzzle.
took me a literal hour to do.
Needs to burn in hell. One of the best games of all time with one of the worst puzzles of all time. Fuck that puzzle.
I remember that.
I like whenever you had like the real life little versions you have as a kid. I could never solve them.
And it sucks because you've got this really tense music in the background. You know those fucking nights are gonna come to life.
I always dread that part. I've beaten this game 25 times, and I always dread that part. I'm like, oh no, it's that part. That and the water level. That water room. The water room is the worst part of the game. I hate that part. Where the part where like you have to get Ashley to turn the crank, and there's enemies all around you, and then you go up the stairs. Right. Yeah. Oh, everybody hates that room.
Yeah,
so,
it's very difficult. Very difficult.
I just want to see how I want to see the regenerators though.
I feel bad.
Yeah.
I feel bad for the kid who asks for Resident Evil 4 for Christmas and gets a copy of the port. For
still a great game.
I hope nobody tells any of the new people about regenerators, and we all tell them that the island is incredibly safe and they should run through every door.
Yeah.
God, I just want to see one person who has never played RE4 before and see the regenerator or the Iron Maiden. That is going to be amazing.
I do like that they're going for something different with the horror tone. Like I do like that, but I do appreciate the action hero Leon though. I love his one-liners. I think that game has incredible lines. Yeah, I just love everything.
I feel like considering the tone of Village, I feel like it's a pretty safe bet that they're going to keep at least.
Sure, they're going to keep some of it. It's Resident Evil. You got to keep. Keep some of it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's also a guarantee that Ashley is going to be better. She's going to be improved. There's no way she can't be.
Yeah, Ashley's awful.
Well, I mean, the deluxe edition comes with the soundtrack swap or whatever, kind of like what Resident Evil 2 had. So I just laugh my ass off if just after they have it, but like after launch, if they just had like an Ashley voice
when that
swap
save
pack,
music hits,
it just returns.
I'm out the door, Mitch. When that save music hits, I'm gone.
Yeah, Resident Evil 4 is a great soundtrack. I'm gonna love the remixes of them.
What would your reaction be if, like, in the remake, you walk up to the save room for the first time, and then you just have like the basement music from the Resident Evil director's cut, the really fast
one. I don't even know that one, but that's hilarious.
What were they? I'll send it to you. It's really funny.
Okay.
It's notoriously bad. I don't know what they were thinking with that one.
Yikes.
But yeah, we're all excited about that game.
But anyway,
obviously,
yeah.
it comes out in like 2 months,
Yeah.
which is crazy. Like,
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Ah! Excited.
Yep. What else? Let's see. Let me go to your messages. Star Wars Jedi Survivor.
Number 3.
yeah.
I platinumed Jedi Fallen Order twice, and I love that game. One of the best Star Wars games since Knights of the Old Republic, in my opinion. I just hope. I have nothing but praise about that game. I just hope they cut down on the backtracking, because that game,
Yes.
I spent so
Yeah.
much time in that game just being lost and having no
Yes.
idea where to go.
Especially going for all the collectibles and like
The
the 100%.
platinum was
that's just a
brutal.
pain.
The second time it wasn't bad.
Yeah.
Because I knew what to expect. But the first time, oh my god, I spent half my
Yeah.
playthrough was just being lost. But
Because the point I'm at in the game right now when I'm going through it, like you have that I think the second time you go to Kashyyyk and you have to like climb up that massive ass tree with the lake and all that. I made a point to get all of the collectibles the first time through, because I did not want to return there, because I knew like even just returning to that area is a pain in the ass. Like that, all of the maps and worlds in this game are like a maze.
yes.
And the map isn't that great either. It's sort of communicating where you specifically need to go,
Yeah.
because there's a bunch of platforming
The
and
map was confusing.
tiny little corridors to squeeze through. But that's terrible. I really hope they improve for the sequel. But
Exactly.
but yeah, like I made a point to like backtrack and get everything on my first run through, and I still didn't get everything. So I had to, once I beat like the ninth sister boss or whatever, and before I went on to the next story mission, I just like I made a point to just 100% the rest of that planet. I never have to return there, and I never want to return.
It's
there
your first
ever
time
again.
playing it?
No. It's my second time. Like I played it back at launch in 2019 or whatever.
Did you beat it?
But just because it's I beat it. I didn't
Okay.
I didn't platinum it though. I forget if I beat it twice on the PS4 or if I got close to beating it that second time. But either way, like I beat it at least 1.5 times. But just because it's on PS5 now, I'm just like, look, okay, I'll go back and actually get the platinum before
Yeah.
Survivor comes.
Best part of the game is the gameplay. It's Souls-like. It's so good. I love like mixing the different like you have like different color lightsabers or different skill sets. Like you can have the double blade or regular.
Just the orange or yellow lightsaber all the way for Cal Kestis. Hair color may or may not be. It's complete. Ignore that. Ignore the hair color.
I don't know why, but ever since I was a kid, I've always liked green as a lightsaber. Like blue's my favorite color, but I've always liked the green lightsaber. I think it's because Luke Skywalker is like my favorite character, like in all of fiction.
Yeah,
and I love that
probably
like black, all
big
black look with the green lightsaber. It's just my favorite look. But
yeah.
so mine has
I'm
green. But yeah,
I'm honestly kind of surprised at how little we've seen of the game though.
yeah.
Like I'm sure like over the next month we'll actually get some gameplay, and IGN or whatnot will probably have a hands-on preview and stuff. But like, even though I'm sure it'll be like in terms of structure very similar to Fallen Order, I'm shocked that like we don't know.
Yeah, I mean it's coming out in 2 months and 10 days. I mean, it's not that
I mean,
far away.
it comes out the week before RE4 remake. In fact, like we got like a pretty lengthy gameplay trailer for RE4 remake. Like
I love
October.
Star Wars, but everything gets put on hold for Resident Evil.
Yeah, everything's
Resident
getting
Evil
put
is
on the
my
shelf.
favorite franchise. Everything gets put on hold
Yeah,
automatically. when
I don't
Exactly.
know how much this matters to you guys, but it's also going to be one of the first big AAA releases using Unreal Engine 5.
Oh, really?
Will it? I kind of what?
Why? I thought it was going to be on 4
other
as
games
well.
have used
that's
it. Yeah, no.
No,
I mean that's
Forspoken
good, though.
isn't. So
That's exciting because
Forspoken is Forspoken.
that's
so,
exciting because the first game looked had a fantastic visuals. So I can't even imagine how
it
good
had
this
some
game's
like
gonna look.
yeah. I mean, like it started a bit for sure, but it was still really good on its own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's
I don't know.
exciting.
I wonder if stuttering's still a thing with Unreal Engine 5.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if at least getting to start off with, if like before devs have it fully figured out, but
Yeah.
hopefully not.
Right.
Hopefully
So
not.
several of you guys said Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, which I don't think is coming out this year, but we can talk about it. Obviously, part 2 of Final Fantasy VII Remake, which
It's supposedly coming out in the last quarter of 2023.
it says winter, so
Winter
that could be early 2024.
Exactly, yeah, that's true.
Which is what I think it is.
To be fair, I highly doubt they'd put Final Fantasy 16 and 7 Part 2.
Exactly, I agree.
Yeah, that's fair. I've heard that as well.
But
So,
either way, we can still mention it.
Of the two,
Yeah.
of the two, that's the one I'm probably more excited for. Maybe.
Yeah.
I feel
Remake?
I feel like I'm maybe at the moment more excited for 16 just because it comes out sooner and we know more about it.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, 7's my favorite Final Fantasy game, even though I don't think it's objectively the best.
I'm really excited for Rebirth, but we've seen so little of it that it's hard to get
to
super
be
excited for it. I almost put Final Fantasy 16 instead of Rebirth because that's how pumped I am for 16. But I love my polyamory triad too much. So.
Yeah, I'm super excited for Part 2 because I'm super curious how they're gonna do the open world. I mean, you guys never played 7, so you have no idea what I'm talking about.
I have no fucking clue.
But there's so much to 7 that you guys don't know. I mean, so much. Like the remake only did 10% of the first game, or not even.
I know
5%.
It's wild.
There's so much you guys don't know, and I'm really curious where they're gonna stop at.
And if they're doing a trilogy, then they've at least got to do another 40% or some shit, right?
I have an idea where they're going to stop at.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna say what. But
well, yeah, obviously don't. Please don't.
But I'm curious how they're gonna do an open world because Final
Next
Fantasy
thing
VII,
tell me a major character kills another major character in a really fantastical way.
Well, I mean, everybody knows the one death.
No, I know. Okay.
If you don't know that at this point, but
I know.
Final Fantasy VII is an open world game, the original. It is an open world game. It has 99% of the game, not 99, but like 90% of the game is traveling in open world. So yeah. So I'm really curious how they're going to do this. So I don't know how long they've been working on Part 2 because if they're doing an open world like I'm imagining, like Final Fantasy 15 open world, that's a short time to build an open world with that much stuff in it. So I'm curious how they're going to do that. I don't know.
I mean, I wonder if they built it on the back. Oops, sorry. I was going to say, I just wonder if they built it on the back of Final Fantasy 15 or other open world Final Fantasy games before it, or.
My biggest question also is that like 7 Remake is very linear. So how are you going to go from that to open world and with the same style of gameplay? I think the gameplay
entirely linear. But
you get what I'm saying though, but like it was open area, but there was no like open world. Like everything was just right. Everything was from point A to point B for the most part. You had side quests and stuff, but it was always point A to point B. You squeeze through a hall, you squeeze through a gap, you solve a puzzle, cutscene to cutscene to cutscene. So it was a narrative game. So I'm curious how they're gonna handle going from that to an open world game. We'll see. I think the gameplay itself will be fine. But I'm curious. I'm just curious, like the actual, like.
Yeah, it would at this point
pacing,
it'd be incredibly difficult
pacing.
for them to screw up the gameplay because all they need to do is
the same thing.
Take what they've already done. And
exactly. I'm not worried about the combat. The combat will be fine. I'm just curious how the pacing and the movement's gonna be.
Yeah.
And things like that. I can't go into detail obviously because you guys don't know. I don't want to spoil it.
Sure.
But you get what I'm saying. All right. Let's move on to Final Fantasy 16. This is my maybe number 2, probably.
This almost made my top 5, but I had to put my obscure 5th pick. So
if not for Resident Evil, Final Fantasy
to,
would be my favorite.
I didn't realize we were supposed to number them.
Oh, I just numbered them. You don't have to.
No, you don't have to. It's just I'm just for conversation. Final Fantasy 16 would be my most hyped game, if not for obviously the Zelda. But
right.
Final Fantasy 16 just looks incredible. I love the direction. I love that it's going in a different direction. It's going for more of an adult story and more blood and stuff. But I just love that people can turn into like the summons. Like people can turn into Ifrit and Shiva and in Bahamut and all that stuff. It's a really cool idea. And visuals are just incredible.
I don't know much about the Final Fantasy franchise. Isn't it being directed by the director of Final Fantasy XIV?
Yes. Which
is a good thing.
Which is a super good thing because Final Fantasy XIV probably has the best writing in the entire franchise. People absolutely love.
I've heard that.
Absolutely love the soundtrack and the game and the storytelling in Final Fantasy XIV, which is an MMO, and the fact that they can keep consistent writing because that game is constantly having expansions and things like that. People say that it's the best in the franchise. So the fact that he's making a game a single player game like this is super exciting because this game has potential to have one of the best stories in the franchise. So So the gameplay looks amazing. So if the story's just as good as the gameplay, this is going to be one of the best games of the year by far. And the visuals.
Yeah, I'm really
incredible.
excited. This
And
will
the
be my
music.
first mainline Final Fantasy game I've played. And I may have said this on podcasts before, but this will be the first mainline Final Fantasy game I've played since 7 came out, like
Wow.
originally came out.
Wow.
So I was just always turned off
Wait,
by
so you-
turn-based RPGs, except for Pokemon.
So you never played like 10?
No,
on
I
the
never played.
PS2?
I saw the commercials when I was younger. I saw
Okay.
X and X2, and so I knew the commercials, and they were eye-catching for sure. But the turn-based stuff always turned me off from trying it.
Yeah, I mean, Final Fantasy is like Kingdom Hearts, where it's so accessible nowadays. Like you can play it on
Yeah.
every platform now, and especially even with the new Pixel games coming out on all the platforms.
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
So Final Fantasy is so super accessible now. Like you can play it everywhere now. And 7, 8, 9, 10. It's on Xbox. It was on Game Pass for a long time. I don't know if they're still on Game Pass, but they were on Game Pass for a long time. Anyway, so 16 just looks super hyped. I'm a sucker
Yeah.
for fantasy with epic music and big, amazing battles. Like
It definitely strikes me like as Final Fantasy meets Game of Thrones, and I'm all about that.
oh my god, that's a match made in heaven.
Exactly.
All right, let's do what we all in common. I'll just get Zelda, Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom out of the way. Now I do think this game's gonna get reviewed like fantastically well, and everybody's gonna love it. But I do think it's gonna be similar to God of War Ragnarok, where are they going to just do the same game just in a different setting? Is it gonna?
It does feel like it.
Is it gonna feel like it's too similar? So I feel like this game's gonna review worse than the first game, but it's still in the 90s and everything. Don't get me wrong, but you get what I'm saying. I have a feeling this game's gonna be too samey to the first game, and that's like my big worry for it. But other than that, even if it's just the same game, I'm gonna be super happy. It's probably gonna be my game of the year potentially. Breath of the Wild was like game of the generation, or one of the games of the generation. So we'll see. But I just hope they get rid of that weapon system where it breaks on you. I hate that. I know people defend it. I hate it. I think it's just annoying constantly.
It's
having to-
garbage.
This time,
I hate it.
weapons break faster.
Ugh, I don't like it, but we'll see.
Yeah.
But I think it's gonna be it's probably the favorite to win game of the year, like early favorite.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But this is the year where it's gonna be super competitive. It's not like last year where it was a 2-man race. This or like 2019 where Last of Us Part 2, we all knew Last of Us Part 2 was gonna win.
No, that was
Yeah.
2020.
Or 2020, I'm sorry. Yeah, 2020. We all knew that was gonna win. So
Yeah.
this year is like super competitive. So we'll see.
Oh yeah.
Now we can start getting into like the list are a bit different. Everybody gave me different stuff.
Yeah.
Mitch mentioned the Dead Space remake. So why is that in your top 5 most anticipated games of the year?
Well, partially, because obviously recency bias is coming out in just a few weeks.
Yes.
And I've played the first Dead Space. I think I got to play chapter 10 or so though when I hit a wall. And I've played a bit of Dead Space.
Is your head okay? Sorry.
But like I really enjoyed the game back then, but I feel like it'd just be great having yet another survival horror game, not only remade but also like on PlayStation where I can play it.
And we're talking like one of the best survival horror games of all time. Like it revolutionized the industry because Resident Evil 4 was revolutionary, and then Dead Space improved upon Resident Evil 4.
Yeah,
So
kind of brought it back.
Dead
to horror,
Space
yeah.
is arguably top 5 greatest survival horror game of all time. And
Yeah,
This is
yeah,
survival
exactly.
horror game fans getting their due for Callisto Protocol.
yeah, basically.
Yeah. There's some people, not all of us.
Yeah,
But yeah,
for
look.
some
Honestly, I think it's also like it's just good. Studio politics aside, it's good to see a surprising amount of transparency from an EA studio.
I
Like
feel like that's
especially a
what
year
they're-
or so.
that's their trend
Sorry?
now. Like they're doing the same with
Yeah.
Skate 4.
I mean, like I feel like like highly fan anticipated projects like this. Absolutely, like I feel like Jedi Fallen Survivor. We were literally just not Jedi
Jedi Fallen Survivor.
We were literally
Called it
we
that.
were literally we were literally just talking about how they haven't said anything really. But I feel like like Respawn have earned enough accolades of the studio at this point to the fact where, you know, like most fans will just trust them
Yeah.
automatically. But yeah, like I feel like it's great seeing a certain level of transparency with game studios, and the fact that they seem to be, you know, similar to RE4 remake and the original RE1 remake, where they are just kind of adding and refining things from the first game that weren't in there. Like, you know, we finally got voice acting. We've got sort of, instead of levels and chapters being broken up, like we've got like just a fully seamless, not an open world, but a fully seamless gameplay world that we can go through. And they're apparently adding like sort of new story moments and transitions. I don't know what the fuck is up with his new face model. That just looks
Yeah,
awful.
what was it? That tweet said he
Yeah.
looks like a youth pastor.
Adam. Exactly.
Hello, my fellow youths.
Like I can, like, I haven't seen much of it, but it's like I get the idea of them possibly going for like, oh, it's what you call it, like, you know, like they're going for a like a more like sort of standard reasonable engineer looking guy instead of, you know, like, or like a gruff hardened military looking guy, but compared to like the original games. But
I feel like he'd need to be a gruff,
the
hard,
only
military-looking
Oh,
guy.
yeah,
the only
decent
dead
in the art.
space should within your heart should be when Satan tries to come in, children.
but yeah, like literally, I think it's just I'm excited for it. That's all I can say, really. I mean, like, you know, not long to go, so that helps as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Next one, let's all. I'm gonna mention Atomic Heart.
Yes.
This
This is
it's
on my
not,
honorable
it's
mentions.
not in my top 10, but it's in my top. I mean, excuse me, it's not in my top 5, but it's in my top 10. It's on Game
Yeah.
Pass, coming out next month, which is crazy. It looks really
okay.
fun. No worries. It looks really fun. The visuals look great, super fun. I'm gonna get it on PS5, though. I don't even if it's always on Game Pass, I'm still gonna probably buy it on. I always buy games on PlayStation if it's on Game Pass, just because this is it's my main platform. But
Yeah.
either way, I don't know what else to say. It just looks like an awesome game. Like,
There's not much to see. I mean,
yeah.
we don't know that much about it.
Yeah, we
There's just
don't
been a
really
few
know that
trailers.
much. I've only seen like snippets of the gameplay in the trailers, and that's about it.
Yeah.
So I don't.
It looks great. It comes out soon. It was on my honorable mentions.
I hope it doesn't disappoint, but
Yeah.
I guess it has potential to disappoint because we just don't know.
It
much
probably has
about
the most potential to disappoint of any game coming out this year.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why it has the Callisto Protocol effect. I'll say this while Mitch isn't here. He stepped away for a second.
All right. So this one's obviously controversial. I'm super excited for Hogwarts Legacy. It's going to be. It looks incredible, but I worry that it's going to be too big. It's trying to be too ambitious, and because I don't know if it's their first game, but it's
not. That's the confusing thing about it is it's from Avalanche, but it's not the Avalanche who did Just Cause. It's the Avalanche who did Disney Infinity.
It's also not the avalanche that attacked Shinra.
But
What?
you talking about,
right,
You
okay.
did a Final Fantasy 7. She did a
Final
Final Fantasy
Fantasy
7 joke. Yeah.
I see.
So I'm worried that's trying to be too ambitious because they're making a giant open world with like story elements everywhere and all this. Like, you can be a bad guy, you can be a good guy. And I don't want him to like. It feels like the game that's gonna be just the perfect Harry Potter game, but at the same time, it's like I hope it just doesn't go in like a super ambitious direction where it's like too much. But we'll see. But it's the game I've always wanted my entire life, so I am super excited for it. I'm going to be Ravenclaw, and I'm going to enjoy being in the common room and exploring the castle and all that. And the gameplay looks really fun. The visuals look incredible. This game is going to probably get good reviews. I don't see anything that worries me that it's going to be like super disappointing. But I just worry it's going to be too ambitious.
I feel like I know I just got back. I feel like personally, part of me gets the appeal of, having your own Hogwarts OC and having your own story about that. But like, I feel like, if I was to have a Harry Potter game, I'd personally prefer one where we just played as Harry.
Oh, okay.
Good, and I mean, don't get me wrong.
Like the old
having
school
your own
games?
original character is cool and all. Yeah, kind of like that. But like, the main reason for that being is just that I can't imagine them actually having a storyline or plot that's more interesting than what they already did with like the actual series itself.
Yeah.
Because like from what we have seen of the story, it's like you play like a fifth year or something, and they
It's
kind of
it's vague.
it's kind of like it's sort of, they seem to be taking some of the like the chosen one tropes again for some reason,
Yeah,
or something about how you're really special and talented and stuff, which is like it's cool, but like it acts antithetical to like the whole, not the whole point of Harry Potter as a character, but like a large part of it.
Yeah, if it might have been a better idea just to do like you learn, like you're not anybody, you're just you get better as you go along in your classes and stuff, instead of just being this chosen one fifth year student. It'd be probably better if you're starting from like day one. But I do love that you can make your own character, and because that's the game everybody always wanted. It was you go to Hogwarts and be a student and go to class, and that's what people always wanted.
Yeah.
This is why people are super hyped, because it's the dream game that everybody always wanted. It's just I just worry that it's just the studio is not like, they haven't. It's just they're promising a lot of stuff, and I want to see if they can hit on all those promises.
Well, Avalanche are like well known for like having massive open worlds, but they're just filled with a lot of busy work.
Different
and
Avalanche.
stuff.
Yeah, like I said, it's a different Avalanche.
Wrong Avalanche.
So
really, well,
so much
which Avalanche is this then?
This is the one that did Disney Infinity. This is not the one that did Just Cause.
And it's not the one that attacked Chanel. And yes, I am making that joke again, but Mitch wasn't here when I made it the first time, so.
But it comes out
why
next month.
Why do they have
which
the
is crazy,
same
so.
name?
It comes out next
It's not
month.
Avalanche Studios, it's Avalanche Software.
It's an avalanche of avalanches.
They made Disney Infinity 3.0, and Cars 2, the game.
Okay.
I don't know if that makes me feel better or worse.
I
mean, look, considering, sorry.
I do think it's shitty that they're making like a lot of content exclusive to PlayStation for some reason. Like even though it benefits me,
I was kind of surprised.
Even though it benefits me because I'm a PS5 bigger player, but it's still kind of it's just shitty. I didn't like when they did Avengers with Spider-Man. Like I just don't like that. But we'll see. I don't think it's gonna be disappointment. I don't know if it's gonna be an incredible masterpiece, but I don't think it's gonna be disappointing. I think it's gonna be like a fair safe bet. It's probably gonna be a nice 8.5.
Gonna be the humbug person, local trans person, and just say real quick, fuck J.K. Rowling. Everybody should do whatever. Everybody should do whatever they want. If you want to buy this game, do it. But I don't think anybody should. But that's my personal opinion. But yeah. Seb said it was controversial, so I mean, I'm just opening that door a little bit more.
I don't like J.K. Rowling at all. I can't stand her.
None of us do. If you ever listen to this podcast at all, none of us do. So,
she was one of my favorite authors growing up, and it's a real shame she's gone down this road. Because I would you asked me 10 years ago, I would have said she was right up there with Tolkien as like my favorite author.
I was just thinking about it a second ago as well, but it's like I feel like if we were under different circumstances, I feel like if like a video game adaptation of a major beloved series like this, if like it did,
I'd be hyped.
The like actual backing and like the writing talents of the original author, everyone would be like over the moon hyped.
I read all the books as a kid. I watched almost all the movies. I played the first Harry Potter game on the PlayStation and loved it. Like I was an ardent Harry Potter supporter when I was a kid. Yeah, the one where you play as Harry Potter.
Yeah.
No.
That's the nice.
No, the Hagrid.
Oh, yeah, the one with the Hagrid. Yes. Sure.
That's the nice thing about not being a Harry Potter fan, is this one is easy to avoid.
Yep.
Yeah. For me, Harry Potter is like there's 4 pillars of my life, like the Mount Rushmore. It'd be Marvel, Star Wars, Harry Potter, and
Resident Evil.
This podcast.
Star Wars, Marvel, Harry Potter, and then I don't know what I guess the 4th one would be
Resident Evil?
5 different things.
4th one, TBA.
TBA.
I'm blanking. I think I'm
Dragon Ball Z. I don't know.
No, Dragon Ball Z. Yes.
I nailed it.
Dragon Ball. Yep.
It only took me 2 tries.
Yeah.
I know, Seb.
Yeah, but not even if you just ignored like the turf stuff, her writing has gone downhill because like the Fantastic Beasts movies they've kind of shit on like the lore of the books, like because she's trying to because they're bad movies and she's trying to expand on things by like altering like the lore, and it's made it worse. Like I don't need to know that like the snake was like a lady first.
That was the example I was gonna think of.
And like I'll go on a tangent, but the point is
it feels like
Hideo
Kojima Metal Gear Solid 4 syndrome, where they kind of go back and kind of like add the explanations for everything. So not as bad.
So even despite
definitely not as bad.
So even despite this turf stuff, she's ruined her own work just from her writing. Like she's gone.
Yeah.
Her writing is anyway.
What's that? What's the Jeff Goldblum quote? Your scientists always considered whether they could. They never stopped to think whether they should.
Yeah.
That's just But basically any celebrity in 2023 now. Let's be honest.
So let me get a few of mine out of the way. I don't know if you guys, none of you guys mentioned these. Diablo 4 looks incredible. Obviously it's hyped to oblivion. We haven't Diablo 3 came out 2012 or whatever. So it's been like a decade now. So it looks incredible.
It looks. Yeah, I think it looks like really cool, but it's just not my type of game. Like not
mine and not my company
point of view. Yeah, just not my type of game. Yeah.
James,
I'll try it. Yeah. It's in that limbo for me, where it's not a series I have any history with, and it's not a game that I'm hyped for, but it's definitely something I am interested in trying.
Yeah,
I'm with James on that one. Yeah, I'm with James.
If you guys do play, because this is the kind of game that's gonna have long legs. So it might be a good time to get into it like a year later when it's like $30 or whatever, and then we can play it together. Because there's always new expansions and DLC if it clicks with you. But yeah, if you don't like top-down dungeon looters, you're not gonna like them. But so anyway, Lies of P, Pinocchio, Dark Soul. It's basically
It's been a banner 2 years for Pinocchio.
Yeah, Bloodborne Pinocchio.
I feel like not enough people are talking about this. What the fuck is going on with Pinocchio? Because he has 3 movies, I think, in 2021, or 2022, and then he has a video game in 2023.
Well, if you include that DVD movie with the horrible acting.
And I do, Seb.
Yeah.
Because it was meme gold on Twitter. I couldn't believe the line. It was amazing. But anyway, Lies of P.
Yeah, the visuals are fantastic. The atmosphere. It feels like Bloodborne. It's gothic Pinocchio. It's so interesting.
It feels so loosely Pinocchio. Like
very loosely.
It feels like, I don't know what even to compare it to, but it feels like Pinocchio is just.
I know this is going to upset a certain mouse in the house, but I think this is why it's great that certain IPs are not protected anymore, because people can do really fucking weird shit like Bloodborne meets Pinocchio.
Or Del Toro.
That's what it is, though. It's legally distinct Pinocchio.
Exactly.
Two things quickly. 2 quick things. One, I swear to God, I thought this game had already come out. So then when you said that you were anticipating, so I'm like, huh? 2,
when is the date
on the legal IP things becoming open source or whatever the fuck. Can I just say real quickly, tangent? I hate this trend of making like beloved fairy tale characters or whatever into horror movies.
Winnie the Pooh.
It's like Winnie the Pooh, the Grinch. I think they're making a Bambi one. Like, it's funny for like a 2-minute SNL skit, but then when you make an actual movie out of it, I'm like, why? I'm not like I will watch a 2-minute trailer on YouTube.
And Sherlock Holmes is completely in the public domain, so that means horror movie. Sherlock Holmes horror movie soon.
When it's done right, it can be really good though. Because like the Alice in Wonderland games are fantastic, and they're dark.
Oh, 100%. But that's because they're actually. But that's
because it works.
The Alice in Wonderland's kind of dark.
Yeah, exactly.
Itself,
yeah, it's super dark.
But like all of the movies and stuff that I've seen coming out, they don't seem to have any, passion or anything put into them outside of look, it's Winnie the Pooh killing people. Isn't that funny?
I know. I have no interest in that.
Yeah, like
I'm so morbidly curious about that movie and how bad it's gonna be.
I hate. I mean, to be fair, I heard about, because they made the Grinch horror movie that came out for a limited release. Apparently, I don't think you guys would care about spoilers either, but apparently the way the Grinch dies in that movie is that his heart literally grows 3 sizes. and it just explodes in his chest. I've heard nothing else about the movie, but I heard that. I'm like,
Oh, I
okay,
gotta watch
that's,
that now.
that's brilliant.
That's
That's
actually-
brilliant.
That sounds
really good.
amazing.
Yeah.
I can't wait
sounds really fun.
for I can't wait for Mickey Mouse to enter the public domain next year, so we start getting some Mickey Mouse horror movies.
Let's
I'll be
go.
If you
surprised
think
if that
Disney
happens.
will let that happen, Disney will literally move mountains to
Yeah. Mickey Mouse is too
stop that from
iconic.
happening. Yeah.
Anyway, Lies of P looks great. It's got on Game Pass, so that's day one
That's
Game
cool.
Pass game. But I obviously, like I said, I don't get it on PS5.
Hmm.
Baldur's Gate 3. I've been waiting for this game for years. It's a Dungeons and Dragons game. Like it's not gonna be for everybody because it has like that dice roll combat or strategy kind of game. But the visual is just incredible. The storytelling is incredible. It's been on open beta for like 2 years now, and you can play like 30 hours of the game in beta. And
So
people
let-
are really
let me
digging it. Go ahead.
So let me get the story straight. It's a gate owned by a bald guy. Is that right?
All right, so we're moving on. As someone who's literally DM'd at least part of a campaign that took place within Baldur's Gate.
I
mean,
apologize.
Do you have any interest in
You
that,
should be.
Dory? Because I know you like Dungeon Dragon.
You know what? I'm waiting for reviews. I have Baldur's Gate 1 and 2, I think, on Epic Game Store or something. I got it for free. I think, or it could be on my Steam. Not sure. I have it somewhere.
Two is one of the most beloved games,
Yeah,
PC games
for
of
sure.
all time.
I have some classic CRPGs on my laptop just waiting to be played. But yeah, I'm definitely interested. If this gets good reviews, I'll probably check it out.
We
But
live
it's not up there.
We live in an incredible era. Like everything's like so much more accessible now. Like you can play Baldur's
know.
Gate 2 on like PS5 now, which is
Yes,
in
that's
Diablo. You
wild.
can play Diablo 2 on PS5. It's incredible. It's
Tony
insane.
would like a word.
What?
PS3
Oh yeah.
games.
Yeah. I wish they
Yeah.
could figure that out though. But you know what I'm saying? Like Kingdom Hearts is accessible, Final Fantasy is accessible, Diablo. It's crazy. Anyway, and then finally, because I don't want to hold it up for you guys. Wolf Among Us 2. I've been waiting for this game.
Oh yeah, I forgot that was even coming out.
Now it's still
Everyone
they say
did
2023,
Telltale
but I believe it when I actually get a release date. But either way,
Right.
Yeah.
it has to be this year. It has to be. It's been they've been hyping this for too long now. Wolf Among Us
Yeah.
is arguably the best Telltale game series.
It's definitely up there. Love it.
I just love the Fable series. It's such a cool concept having like an adult noir version of like fairy tale characters, and it's an awesome detective story.
Yeah.
It's really awesome. I also Starfield. The only reason I'm going to do this one last is because I don't know you guys. I think you guys have interest in Starfield too as well, right? Any of you?
Vaguely, yeah.
I don't.
Vaguely?
As much as any
look,
Bethesda game.
if Bethesda got rid of just went a completely new engine, I might have more hype for it. But I just can't
Right.
get over the
We were-
Bethesda jank at this stage.
We were
I know we've already had a.
negative when we watched the
What?
showcase.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, because
I feel
I
like
think
I'm still more negative overall than you guys, but yeah.
Yeah, well, for me, it's like the way they were talking about it before we saw the gameplay. It was like, hey, we've been working on our engine, and it's gonna be like
Yeah.
a new thing. And I was expecting like new, but it kind of just looks like Fallout in space.
The thing with me is Bethesda was like my
Even,
favorite
like-
developer for a long time, and when I say they were on my shit list, people assume it's because Microsoft owns them now, but they were actually before on that list before Microsoft bought them, because
I just seem to forget Fallout 76 happened.
yeah, and I was just tired of like the jank, and I was like, it's not charming anymore to have a half finished game,
Yeah.
and then it's part of the charm. No, it's not. Enough. And that's what worries me
I
about
feel
this
like,
game.
yeah, like jank, it only becomes part of the charm for an old game.
Yeah, when people have
You
to
know,
mod
like
your
if,
game
if
to
the
fix
game's
it.
like exactly, but like I feel like like jank, like for Resident Evil 4, and like jank is part of the charm for that. You could argue,
Yeah.
jank is not part of the charm for Fallout 4 or Fallout 76, games that have come out sub 7-8 years ago,
Yeah, but
5 even in 76.
with all that said, though,
Jesus Christ,
it's
that was 5 years ago.
It's Bethesda's next big game, and since Skyrim and all their games are like pretty much masterpieces. Like so, even if this game has jank, if the storytelling is amazing and I'm having fun, this is a game I can put 50 hours into. It's going it's going to be one of those games where like I expect problems with it, but I'm still probably really gonna love it. It's probably gonna be my top 10 games of the year.
Yeah.
So because I do love Bethesda's open world shooter games. Like I'm a giant Fallout fan. It's been a long time. I have Fallout Boy right there.
I think
Go
yeah.
ahead.
Oh, sorry. No, I was just gonna say, like, I think the make or break for this game will really be just how much of that jank still remains come launch. Because I'm sure they would have been polishing stuff up since that gameplay reveal. Absolutely.
It's gonna hurt Xbox if they had a bad year last year, and then Starfield's a big disappointment.
Not even if it's a big disappointment, even if it's just like it gets your 7s and 8s out of 10s, but like a common critique across the board from both general audiences and critics is that the engine's bad, or the gameplay's bad. I feel like that would be like a real as much as I hate to say it, if the jank still does remain, I hope that is the case, because then that might finally wake Bethesda up to actually changing their engine.
Yeah, because maybe
I love how optimistic Mitch
something's
is.
like something's got to give. Something's got to give.
Because maybe Microsoft forced them.
Fallout 76 didn't fucking do it, and I know it's a better game now. It took them a fucking long enough, but it is a better game now.
Although this game was being made before Microsoft bought them, so maybe in the future Microsoft's going to force them to use a different engine or change
that's
it.
true,
I really don't think so. I mean, like, again, unless something drastic like low performing figures or sort of like middling critic scores, I feel like only that would make Microsoft act. But like, if it does well for them and if it gets good reviews from critics, I don't think Microsoft really have any reason to care.
Yeah.
I remain optimistic for Microsoft and Phil Spencer. Like, I'm sure they do have the players' best interests in mind, but at the same time, if Starfield does extremely well, I wouldn't see any reason to kind of tell them, hey, change what you're doing or change your engine.
Yeah, if it's not broken, don't fix it.
I'll be shocked if this game gets below like an 80 on Metacritic. I think I could see it getting like an 82 or 84 or something, which is a great score. And even if it gets in the 70s, that's still a good score. I don't believe that like that's a bad score, but I don't think it's going to be like this massive disappointment. I think it's gonna be a good game, but maybe not like not game of the year good. I don't know.
No. I mean, it's like Mitch was saying, Microsoft, if this game is a success, Microsoft won't force them to change it, because if it's not broke, don't fix it. But funnily enough, Bethesda's slogan is actually, if it is broke, don't fix it.
for half a second, I'm like, is that actually there? Is that actually there? Oh wait, no. It's a jokey joke.
All right, let's move on. Now I'm done, but a lot of your games are my games as well. I have a giant list, so. Let's do Dory's first. So we did all her top 5 except one, which is AEW, right? Yep. Fight Forever.
So be really quick because no one else is interested in this.
I am. What do you mean?
Oh, okay. No, I forgot.
It has Nintendo 64 like old school gameplay.
Yeah. So a lot of the talent behind this are the people who did those old school games. They did some of the most successful WWE games. There's a lot of reason to believe that gameplay is going to be awesome. Now people are shitting on it, mostly in bad faith, because it doesn't look amazing or the graphics aren't there. It's not supposed to be that kind of game. This isn't a realistic sim wrestling game. This is more of an arcadey, anything goes type of NWO No Mercy whatever game. It's not. I just combined two different games, but it's one of the. It's like one of those.
Revenge. NWO,
yeah. NWO Revenge or WWF No Mercy, like some of the best like N64, PlayStation 1/2 games. It's got Ukes behind it. Kenny Omega, who is also a big part of it, is a huge video game enthusiast. The game is going to have constant updates to it, so it's not going to be like instead of doing sequels and stuff and trying to I don't know. I feel like the way that WWE does it is kind of exploitative with the 2K model. It feels really not great. So instead of doing the 2K model where they release a new one every single fucking year and it feels like they're stealing money from you, they're just going to be gradually upgrading certain things and making things better. Obviously, there are downsides to that as well. There are downsides with the live service model, but I have faith in Ukes. I have faith in AEW, especially with everything going on in the WWE right now. I just have a lot of more faith in AEW than than other wrestling companies.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm really hyped for this. The gameplay looks great. Kim and I are both day one, and I can't wait to kick her ass as CM Punk so she can get really mad at me.
Yeah, it does look janky, but it looks really fun. I won't even care.
Yeah, I don't care as long as the gameplay is good.
That's all that
And
matters.
me and Seb are on that gameplay is king kick right now. But as
Yeah.
long as the gameplay is
Always.
good, I don't. The game. I mean, obviously the graphics shouldn't be shit, and they're not. But like, yeah, they look a little off. They don't look exactly like the people that they're portraying, you know. But that's fine. It's like AEW has been a company for what 3 years, and they've already made a video game. Like, I think that's awesome.
I agree.
So
yeah,
I'm really excited for this. I think it'll do great. It's available on anything. Like pretty much, like look for it and you'll find it. It's on Switch. It's on PC, PlayStation, Xbox. You name it, it's on it. I don't know if it's on Game Pass. I'm not completely sure on that. I don't think
there
it
was
is.
a rumor, but it hasn't been confirmed.
Yeah, I think that was shot down by Kenny, but I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But it's on pretty much everything. It's not going to cost a lot. I think it's only $50. I could be wrong. But yeah, I'm super excited. As you can see, it was my number 5. I almost put other games on there, but I'm so hyped for this. I'm probably buying it day one, and even despite the reviews, because I know that this will probably be. I estimate somewhere in the 70s to 80s if we're lucky, because this is AEW's first try at a video game. I won't be surprised if it has some problems and needs, but it's a live service game, so they're gonna update it. And I actually believe AEW that they're going to do that, unlike, I don't know, Blizzard or something, or other companies that drop games really quick, like fucking Square Enix with Chocobo GP or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyway, I'm super excited. Seb, I don't know if you want to say anything.
No, you pretty much summed it up. It reminds me of the old school '90s wrestling games, which I absolutely love and grew up on.
Yep.
NWO Revenge was like one of my favorite top 5 and Nintendo 64 games. So if this game captures that, then I'm super hyped for it. And I don't even watch AEW, honestly, so I won't even care. I mean, I'm still familiar with a lot of the wrestlers, even though I don't watch it. I still keep up with like the news and stuff. All right, James. I know James is very excited for Party Animals.
The most exciting list begins. Party Animals. Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, you guys saw the trailers for Party Animals, right? There's been 2 trailers. They've both been incredible.
It's the dumb fun games again.
Yeah,
That's all
so
that
like,
matters.
but the thing is, it seems like, well, so I didn't mention this earlier, but one of the games I've been playing over the holiday break, a little, but I didn't mention it because I haven't played it that much, but it's called Rubber Bandits. I don't know if you've heard of this. So it's like Gang Beasts, but I mean, I tried to play Gang Beasts as well. The problem I had with Gang Beasts is it feels like there's not a lot of content, so I got bored very quickly. Rubber Bandits kind of fixes that, and I think Party Animals will probably address that as well, where it's that kind of, it's the ragdoll physics, kind of throw your friends off a bridge kind of game, but with more content than something like Gang Beasts, more variety of content, and just these fucking adorable costumes, these animals, you know. Yeah, I mean, there's not much to say other than that, really.
It looks like dumb fun, and it looks like a fun game like all of us can play and have fun with.
Absolutely, and on Game Pass.
It's on Game Pass,
as well.
so we can all play it together. Also, you're excited for Skate Story. So
Skate Story. Again, the trailer. Just watch the trailer. I mean, that's it. Really, it looks so unique.
it does.
And what is that line in the trailer? I forget what it is.
I'd have to watch it.
You're a demon sent from hell or something like that.
Yeah.
And yet
it's so
skate.
unique. I just
It's
love the
like,
visuals.
yeah,
The visuals
like
alone
this-
sell me on it.
You're like this character made out of diamonds or something, and like you skate, and it just, yeah, the visuals, it just looks incredible. Just watch the trailer is all I can really say
Yeah,
about Skate Story.
I'm with you. That game was the visuals alone. I was very impressed. I'm very curious about that game. This is we're getting to the point where it's like, this is where you know you're a gamer compared to like the casual gamers, like because you know what I mean. Like we're pointing out like the big indies.
Yeah. Exactly.
And then you also excited for Silent Hill, Ascension. I can't ever say that word. Ascension. Ascension. I can never say. There's certain words I can't. I struggle with. I always struggle with that. I can't say the God of War one either.
One
Oh,
word.
I was
Yeah.
Yeah.
No code.
Oh, what?
Oh, because it's
Right.
no code. Yeah.
That's it. That's it. That's my pitch.
I'm definitely curious
well,
about it.
yeah. I was gonna say for a second I thought you were gonna put Silent Hill 2 remake, and I was like, oh, good, because I forgot to put it on my list. But
You might as well transition to that now.
Ascension.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
forgot
I know
to put that on my
it's
list.
like-
It would have been in my honorable mentions.
Silent Hill 2 is
Really
the
forgot
greatest
about it.
horror game ever made, in my opinion, and I think it's most people's list. And
Yeah.
the storytelling is just the best, arguably one of the best of all time. It's ahead of its time. But the problem for me, not the problem, the concern, I guess, the worry is I'm not a big fan of Bloober Team. Their
Nope.
games are just not the best. They're not horrible, but they're just like 6 out of 10 mediocre games. And you're remaking a masterpiece. Like I literally, this is the masterpiece of its genre. But it seems like Konami trusts them, and everybody seems like they have a real strong passion for it. So maybe
You need to ask yourself though.
this is their.
Do you trust Konami?
No, I don't. But my point is, this seems like there's more passion for this more than something they've ever done before, and they have a base.
I mean,
they have a basis to go off of. So they because the medium the medium had like really like cool ideas and cool like atmosphere, and it just needed a little bit more. So if they can just improve upon a medium, there's potential there, but they haven't proven that yet.
To your point, James, it's like I don't trust Konami, but I trust Akira Yamaoka, and I forget the other guy, but him too. Those two guys, they obviously worked on the originals. They're very
exactly.
I wouldn't say protective over the license, considering all the Western Silent Hill games that we got, but they know their stuff.
And the pachinko machines.
Well, I don't think they had any say over that. I think that was all Konami.
They probably didn't. I just wanted to bring in the fucking pachinko machine.
Yeah.
Silent Hill's been awful
but yeah,
for a long time. Yeah.
Yeah.
This has to be good. This has to be good.
I trust.
I just want to
100%. Otherwise, literally, the rest of their Silent Hill relaunch.
This franchise.
I really think this will bury Bloober. If this doesn't work out after a couple mediocre, and they squander this. They squander everything.
Yeah,
unfortunately,
everything gets soured. Every Silent Hill movie and game from after Silent Hill 2 remake, if that game fails, it's gonna be dead on arrival.
Yeah, I feel like with this game, I'm choosing to be optimistic purely because, I mean, like, regardless of what happens, the game is obviously going to be divisive among fans. Like, There are obviously going to be purists who just hate the game because it's new or because it's inherently made by Bloober Team, which I can understand to an extent.
I'm not going to do that. I'm going to try to pretend. I'm going to say it's its own game and treat it like that, unless they really mess up the story and it's way worse.
Absolutely, But I feel like even if they do make, alterations to the story, which, like, as people who have played the original, obviously don't track well. But I feel like regardless, unless the game is just like a major, trash fire at release, like it's a complete unfinished buggy mess, unless that happens, I feel like the game would be divisive, where it's like it would always have its fans for being something new, and to an extent, it'll always have its detractors for being something new and different.
Which is,
but it really just does come down to what the critics think and what general audiences.
I'm just curious how it's gonna. I'm curious how it's gonna sell, because if you went by the internet, you would think Silent Hill is one of the most popular franchises in gaming, and these games have never sold well. It's very
same thing for Metroid.
I feel like I feel like depending on the marketing push, because I mean that the original, like, the reveal trailer got like a really good amount of buzz, I'd reckon, like, in terms of views, not just like discussion.
It's because of Kojima and Del Toro. Like, ever since then, Silent Hill's become a bigger IP. Yeah. But people, like, they changed the past and act like, oh, Silent Hill's this big name compared. It's a big name for horror fans, but not for, like, the general audience. Yeah.
No, go no. But, like, as I was saying, like, it depends on how they market the game and like how much of a push. Because if they do like what the current Sony PlayStation trend seems to be doing, whereas like they'll announce the game a year before launch, and then they'll like completely leave people in the dark until like months beforehand.
Yeah.
Like if they do that strategy, yeah, the game probably won't do that well. But
Yeah.
if they consistently update audiences, if they stay transparent, if they have, like a demo or some previews out, whatever, I
Yeah.
feel like this game has a really good chance to do
It
well.
does.
Like sorry,
Yeah.
not like maybe not Resident Evil 2 remake levels of good, but
Yeah.
possibly close to that.
That's a high level. If it even gets
Yeah,
somewhat there, I'm happy. But
exactly.
because the
Can
original's the original. So
Can I just say,
Yeah.
it's not even confirmed that this game's coming out this year.
no, but
It's not, but they have said that the game's coming sooner than we think. So like I'd say like at the earliest late this year.
like fall.
But
Maybe
yeah,
that's
I
because
think
maybe that's because they think that after PT, people think it's coming never.
Well, it depends.
is true.
We'll
That's
see.
true.
If by like June we don't see a single thing about this game, or then I'll
Yeah,
probably it'll probably come out
probably
next
early next year.
year.
But it's a moot point because I think Ascension is way more exciting anyway.
What, you didn't even see any proper footage of the game. Was
I thought you were going to say
It doesn't-
propaganda.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say
No.
propaganda.
It doesn't matter though.
His
I
reason is
don't
no
need
drinking the
Wait, all I
Konami
need-
Kool-Aid.
all I need to know is that it's the next game from No Code. That's all I need to know,
Oh, no,
Sorry.
and I'm on board.
All right.
So James, another game is Forza Motorsport.
Another Game
I
Pass.
forgot.
Edition.
That was a thing.
Yeah, well, this is the thing. I need this game. I played a lot of the original Forza Motorsport when I was a kid, and I loved that game. But after that, I've never been into the series. I haven't actually really played any of them outside of that first one and Forza Horizon. But I need this game because Gran Turismo 7 was such a huge, monumental letdown, and I'm in dire need of a track racer. And I mean, from what I've heard from people who are fans of the Forza Motorsport games, is they have been consistently good.
Yeah.
So I have no reason to doubt that this game will be any different, and everything I've seen from it looks brilliant. So yeah, I'm really excited.
Yeah,
for this.
I expect every Forza game to be quality at this point. It's a consistent franchise.
Yeah.
All right, so we actually nailed everybody's top 10 or top 5. So only one last thing left is Mitch's game where he thinks The Last of Us Factions comes out this year, which I'm not entirely sure on.
Come on, come on.
Mitch, your optimism this episode is honestly heartwarming.
No, I forgot I said that.
Wait, he did put a question mark. So you.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
All right.
I look, honestly, I put a question mark around it not only because I don't even know if it's coming out this year. Honestly, I barely expect it to come out this year. That's like the non-optimistic side. The main reason I did is because on the off chance that it does come out this year, I feel like it could be something really special. I feel like what they've said about them combining multiplayer and story, if they do it well, could be, in terms of gameplay at least, probably like, peak The Last of Us type gameplay. Because obviously I feel like everyone would agree the gameplay of Past 2 is like, chef's kiss for.
I think it's the best third-person
so I feel
shooter
like
of all time, gameplay-wise.
100%. So if you add, if you add like a fairly expansive world to it, you add some interesting enemies and encounters.
Yeah.
You have a good progression system. I feel like it could be like, one of like a game that I come back to for like years and years on end.
Yeah.
I
Absolutely.
could sink like hours and days into it.
People love the first Factions, and people still play it to this day. So if they can just do The Last of Us Part 2 and like gameplay and like you said, expand it, this game is it's golden right from the start.
100%. I just hope that Neil Druckmann or whoever is heading up this project, they don't get too carried away and try to do too much to the point where they kind of lose focus of what the series is actually about.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about in terms of
like. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm not talking about just in terms of story either, just like also gameplay, and that they don't try to make it, like a Escape from Tarkov or a Division type thing where it's like, you're constantly running into enemy
Yeah,
players
that
and
would turn
stuff,
me off.
and that would turn me off as well. Like I want it to be PvE focused more so than PvP.
Or both.
All I'll
Would
say,
be nice.
all I'll say is, Mitch,
you could do both.
if you actually think this is coming out this year, then I have a really nice bridge to sell you.
It's not
I have
impossible. I don't think it's
a bag of
impossible.
magical beans that I would love to sell you, Mitch. So just to DM me about that.
I don't think it's outlandish. I think there is a chance. I just wouldn't.
I feel
wouldn't
like-
bet money on it though.
I feel
No,
like
I
we're the Dumb and Dumber
I wouldn't
movie
put money
where
on it
Jim
either,
Carrey's
but-
character is like, so you're telling me there's a chance?
I wouldn't put money on it either, but like I'm saying, like, if it does come out, it'd be like
I hope it
very
does.
last minute.
Because they've been
Yeah, I hope
working
very
on
last
it for
minute.
a
I
long.
do too,
They've
of
been working
course.
on it for a long time, and it was
Yeah.
revealed at the Summer Game Fest. And
The Last of Us
Yeah.
in 2023.
so let's say it comes
I
out
feel
late
like-
this year. They had been working on it for years. Like
Yeah.
So-
I feel like, like, development time aside, I feel like it would just be smart in general to release this game at least semi close to the TV show.
yeah,
Like, obviously I don't think it'd be coming out, like, first half of this year, because no way. But, at least like within a year of the show ending, I feel like would
I'm
be...
very curious.
That, you know what?
Yeah, go.
So that makes me think. Actually, can I change my answer, Seb, for most anticipated game to the Last of Us TV show?
I feel like
Is
that's
that thing- can I do
sarcasm.
that?
That's sarcasm,
Sure,
right?
but
You weren't
I feel
hot
like
on
you're
it
kinda
about
like-
a month ago.
But I feel
No,
like
like,
but it feels like you're saying Last of Us is already a movie, so we can make.
No,
we can make a
listen.
TV
Now,
show
now
again.
that the marketing's ramping up for the TV show, I'm getting really excited for it.
Okay,
like-
cool.
Really
I'm
excited.
so indifferent.
I'm excited because there's a reason why I'm excited for this, not for like Halo, is that Neil Druckmann's in part of it,
Right.
so he has
Yeah.
respect for his own creation, and two, it's HBO, and the
Yep.
and the
Yeah.
writer of Chernobyl, which is was a
Yep.
fantastic miniseries if you haven't watched it yet.
And also,
and it's quality.
Hey,
It
like-
looks like quality.
the cast is. I'm convinced now about the cast, and
Ellie is the one that still got me, but other than that, I'm excited.
I'm totally, after watching a bunch of interviews and stuff, I'm totally convinced.
Once-
The only
You go ahead, sorry.
there's like a couple details that have come up in interviews that I'm a little skeptical about, which is that they're
feel like they
getting
just
rid
need
of
to
boars.
Yeah, I
And
feel like they just
also-
need to stop talking.
Yeah, like,
Sorry,
but
you go,
also
James.
it seems like they're making it so that Joel and Tess are in a relationship.
I mean, that was implied, but yeah, they never
I don't think
showed
it
it.
was. I don't think it ever
The
was
way-
implied in the
No,
game.
it was implied in the
was-
first game.
It was no. I feel like
I think they
I
had a
feel like
I
fling.
feel like for the game, I feel like it was only implied if you were looking for that. If it makes sense, like it wasn't like I
Like,
mean,
if
like
you read
obviously,
that
like
into
it. Yeah, like if you kind of read, if you were to ever read into like kind of the relationship they have on screen and say and like even just
Yeah.
ponder the possibility of whether it was romantic, you're like, oh, okay, there's seeds for that there.
They
The-
probably,
the
they
way
it was
I'm-
probably casual. It was probably
Yeah,
a casual
no, I don't think it was
sex
anything
thing.
The-
serious.
It's like a casual sex.
No.
kinda.
I feel like from what I got of the interviews, because I mentioned that I'm pretty sure they mentioned that like Tess has affection towards Joel, but I don't think they've ever said whether Joel reciprocates it. But like
No.
either way,
It's a
I
subtle
feel like the
thing.
impression I'm getting going into it is that like again it'll just be like more of an implied thing rather than like them
Yeah.
actually
Well, what-
kissing on
I was
screen.
watching
It'd
an
be
interview-
interesting if they do, but
Well, here's the thing, Mitch. I was watching an interview with the actress who plays Tess in the show, and she was saying
Yeah.
that there's a scene where we first meet Tess where she jumps in bed with Joel and puts her arm around him, which
well, okay then.
kind of pretty much
Wait,
Okay.
The big people's
No, they're just good friends, people. They're just good
the
friends.
big concern is that the actors have not played the games, but that's not. I'm not concerned about that because
That what matters is the writers have played
Exactly.
the games, not yeah.
like The Witcher, for example, the producers don't play the games. They don't give a shit. They don't play. They don't read the books. They don't care. And or the Halo show, you can tell they did not care about the games themselves. So when the producer and the director and the writers don't care, that's my concern. But if their actors didn't read, they don't have to read it. It doesn't matter. So the show's going to be good.
yeah,
I'd be shocked.
If anything, it could hurt the performance because then you're always comparing yourself to those amazing performances.
This game,
Yeah. Also,
the show's going to be good. There's no way this game's going to be any worse.
I'm really excited for Diego Luna as Tommy as well because he has played the game. So
there you go.
And he seems like a really good.
So the most anticipated game of the year for us is the Last of Us TV show.
The Last of Us TV show.
I genuinely cannot wait to talk about it
sure.
next week or next episode.
The only way to watch it is HBO Max, right? I don't fucking have it, so
yeah,
that's sad.
In America, yeah.
I'm excited.
Well, there's always
on
Pirate
the high
Bay or
seas.
1, 2, 3 movies.
Well, of course, I could have a very potentially neat tool that I could use. Very potentially.
You could go on a wee sailing trip.
I mean, I can always stream it and then watch it with you.
Of course, we would never agree to any of that HBO executives who are clearly watching our podcast. No.
Well,
who are canceling every single fucking show on your goddamn.
I have HBO Max, so I can always.
There's always the other solution of just getting a shiv and just like using it to break into the HBO offices.
That's right, and that's exactly what I have this for. No,
which I think is what a bunch of people did with House of the Dragon because most of their episodes leaked early.
Ooh.
There was a brilliant article in the Hollywood Reporter about the show with a bunch of interviews from all the people.
House of the Dragon?
No, The Last of Us.
Yeah.
And they were one of the things that came up was that if season 1 works, then they're going to do season 2, but that's going to be season 2 is going to be part 2.
Oh my god!
House of the Dragon.
The Last of Us.
I'm surprised they're already like committing to it so early because I was fully expecting for them to say, "Oh no, we'll we're going to do something different for season 2 or something. No, we're going to take it in a completely different direction." Which I'm
so glad they're not.
I am and I'm not just because I'm like the first Last of Us, like that could easily be translated to screen, but I don't think I want to go through the internet meltdown that happened when part 2 came out again. I don't think I want to go through that.
God, I just hope they make people more obnoxious in the
people just going around deliberately spoiling.
I hope they somehow swell Abby's muscles even more in the second season.
Yeah.
She's ridiculous.
Is She-Hulk? They got CGI like She-Hulk.
She just they get She-Hulk in and they get Daredevil. They just piss everybody off. It'd be amazing. I would love it.
Who did they get? Oh wait, no, I don't think it was actually a woman in the end. But in the final episode of She-Hulk. I'm assuming all of you guys watched it. How they had like kind of the body double for like that parody of the Bill Bixby show.
Yeah.
In the beginning of the final episode. Yeah. Okay. Basically, just get the same actor for it,
Just have have Abby have like a arrow instead of arrows. It's like golf clubs. She just pulls
shooting golf clubs with an arrow like Hawkeye.
Yeah.
Well, no, not even that.
She pulls out 2 of them, and it's like she does like all like Jedi like.
Yeah, like lightsaber dual wielding. Oh my god! I hope somebody. I can't wait till Jedi Survivor comes out on PC and someone mods the lightsabers into golf clubs and then mods the characters into Joel.
I hope that in that one scene, I hope she yells 4 and then swings.
God! All right, we need to wrap this up.
Okay.
Yep. So that's everybody's most anticipated game.
Already lost our minds.
We went through a lot of games, so this is one of the most exciting years, and every 5 years you get one of these years where it's like, oh my god, every game is coming out.
There's still games I haven't even mentioned, but they're probably not worthwhile enough to talk about at length. But yeah.
Yep. All right, that's it. That was our first episode of 2023. We went longer than expected, actually. But I'm not complaining. All right, so if you want to listen to us, we're on YouTube and Spotify. Is there anything you guys want to plug before we go? Anything you're doing right now that you want to share?
I want to unplug my computer. Sorry, Mitch.
No, I was going to say I'll plug my Twitter again at MitchOb1012. I'm spam posting a bunch of trophies I'm getting as I'm working my way around platinum a bunch of games. So. Give me them likes.
I am on Twitter at dford192, and you can also find me on YouTube. I'll be uploading my playthrough of some games like Dusk, into can't remember the heckin' title, but the choice based game
As Dusk Falls.
As Dusk Falls.
That
I
one.
want to say Dusk Until Dawn. As Dusk Falls. I'll be uploading the highlights from that pretty soon. So look out for that. dford192 on Twitter and YouTube, and eventually I'll go back to streaming at some point on Twitch.
Yep. James, you want to share your Twitter?
No, nobody follow me. Who gives a shit?
Or... Okay.
Okay.
You can
Great.
follow me at LittleSeb93.
Okay, moving on.
I am very active on Twitter, so follow me at LittleSeb93. All right.
He's got like thousands of followers.
Yeah. I'm just kind of
Yeah, you don't need all those followers.
Stuck in
Give
a
me
rut
some.
right now. Though.
Send them my way.
His uncle owns PlayStation.
That's right.
That's Seb. Yep.
All right, guys. You all have a good night. Happy 2023. Peace.
See ya.
Bye.